See, such a beautiful crap. Now they didn't. What's in the game? I mean, that's good. I mean, they had to do their job, but might as well just jump right in. And I want to welcome Clocked It back. We have people been asking, "Where's Clocked It? Where's Clocked It? Is he done?" So he's here.
Really?
He's
That's
never
terrible.
done. He's never truly gone.
But there's just so much to do in Tears of the Kingdom. I can't even comprehend it. Like,
Dude,
Mm-hmm.
I think I, I struggled when I first started because I truly felt overwhelmed. I truly felt
you were trying
overwhelmed.
to complete like each area before you branched out, and I just couldn't do it
It can be. It's a pointless endeavor.
Yeah,
because
it's pretty,
there's
pretty
just so
good.
many.
It's too much.
You got to get hearts. That's the thing I
Yeah.
figured out. You got to have hearts. I
Mm-hmm.
just get wrecked by everything.
Well, the thing is, even though you got hearts, it's like, listen, I found 2 fairies now, right? So I've upgraded some of my armor. And my hearts now, I got a full line, and I need 2 more shrines, and then I'll go down to 1 heart below because I done some extra food to
Dang, you got more than me now.
show that I'm nearly there. But I still get slapped around like sometimes 3 hits,
Yeah.
like a brown or a white one, and it's game over. I'm just like, damn, why is this so hard? What's going on? I
I'm
still feel like I'm missing something.
I'm one heart away from having the top row full, but I did an extra full ring of stamina. I don't know why I don't use stamina that, but it has helped me out a few times while climbing. But there's just
I
so
think I mean
much
stamina
from
plays a part
genuine
in this
side
one.
quests to just like doing the fairy thing. I mean, that's a quest. Just
Yeah.
going down to a chasm, and I'm like, oh, there's like, uh, what was it? Where did I find? Oh, there's new areas where you can purchase like the cores or whatever crystal things to upgrade. Then there's like little things to
You can
do to
find those in
activate
like
that.
mines and stuff, can you?
And then the Yiga. If you take down the Yiga base, you get plans for a vehicle. It's like there's just. I mean, I thought Breath of the Wild. I
It's
felt
nuts.
like there was always something to do. It's not even
Mm-hmm.
close.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
There's
that's
a hell of a lot of collectibles.
and then
Hell of a
okay.
lot.
So I'm gonna tell you. Last time I've been playing portably almost the last few times, like 3-4 hour sessions in bed,
That
Mhm.
OLED
and
baby,
with
the
my
OLED.
earbuds, my Bluetooth Bose Sound Sports. That's the way to go. Um, so I finally went to Hateno Village, and there's just a bunch of quests open up, and I was like, well, let me go head towards the tower, and I didn't get that far. I went to the research lab. Did I even go in? I don't think I even went into the research lab. I was going to. Oh, then I saw like a what are the little blue rabbits, the coin ones that give you rupees?
The what do they call it, like
bloopies,
true?
something. I don't know. I think
Oh,
bloopies
blue,
No,
because it's
blue,
rupees.
they're called
blue,
like
blue, blue.
boobles or
Yeah,
something.
No,
yeah,
the
something.
rabbit ones I think are
I know what you're
bloopies.
talking about. They are
I
Either
don't like
way,
collect. I
I
feel like
seen
I
one,
rarely see those guys.
and I was like, "Oh, there's a cave near every." There, that's how you know there's a cave. That's their little trick.
Yeah.
Well, let me go in this cave. I enter this cave, and it's massive. Like it's massive. There's like, I think that one had some armor in it too. So there's I finally fit. Yeah, that's what it was. I got the final piece of the barbarian armor, the headpiece. And I'm like, this cave is still where's the blurple or whatever, the big one. And I find it, and then I keep walking. I'm like, oh, now I'm out the other side. I'm in the Mount Lanero region. I'm in the snow, and I'm like, damn, I'm in the snow. Put my warm gear on. I was like, well, the tower's just up the hill here, so I'll go up the tower. I go up the tower, and sends me off in the sky. Land on a sky island. There's like a ring timed ring thing with
Yes.
shield
Yes.
surfing, and then I'm like, oh,
oh yeah, I remember doing that.
that's like I got the barbarian complete now. Let me go upgrade. Let me go to a ferry. So I went to a ferry, and I was like, I don't want to fast travel. I fast traveled, but I tried not to. And then I was like, yeah, let me just drop into the chasm here. And I drop into the chasm. I spent like 2 hours, and I just like because there was a couple check marks from a maps you find. I went to a couple of
Mm-hmm.
those. I got the complete miner's gear down there, and
Okay. Cool.
and then I come back up and I was like, damn, I was supposed to be back at Hateno Village, and I was like, well, I'm kind of by the labyrinth. I never finished the one labyrinth, so I might as well do that. Go up and do the labyrinth, which drops you back down into the depths again. And I found like 5 or 6 more, and I'm like, holy crap! Like, my goal was just to go to the tower, go back to Hateno, and do some of the quest. And I did 4 hours of just everything else. Didn't do any quest in Hateno. It's just crazy.
And it's all good. It's all really good.
I never felt like, oh man, what am I wasting all this time doing this? Like, I'm just wasting. All right, so we got.
One thing I found. Sorry, go on.
I just want to say welcome to AB James. We got Lenny. We got Sally. We got Jay Biggs. Clocked it in here, airs. Just want to say hey to those. Thanks for joining us for starting early because Memorial Day. So I want to get Clocked It's take on Tears of the Kingdom. So.
I thought you were going to say Memorial Day then. I was like,
That's none of us in America have to work usually, so we can start. T's gonna be here, Terrell be here. So Clocked It, Mike. Mike's yours, or let's just get your take on Tears of the Kingdom since you weren't here last week. Just give us a general feelings of the game. I know we started in on some specifics, but how's the game treating you? And what's your playtime? I'm at 75 hours.
I think I'm at 75. Around about there. Last time I checked, I was on about 70.
Let's see. Oh, look.
I put in a few more hours now. I could grab the Switch and have an exact look, but
it says 80 hours or more.
For me?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
So yeah, 80 hours or more in, and I'm doing a Terminator juice where you just like I've done 2 temples. I don't know how many shrines I've done. Obviously done quite a few to get a full line of hearts and a down and a half wheel. What are my thoughts, man? Oh. It's difficult, isn't it? Because I can't get off it. I'm having so much fun. I can't get off it. I'm absolutely loving it. But funny enough, I do find it a drastically, I know that's a strong word, I do find it a drastically different game to Breath of the Wild. I really do. Even in terms of the feel of the open world, the exploration. I feel like this game is much more jam-packed. Not like with Breath of the Wild when you went out into Hyrule Field. And of course there was stuff to see, there's stuff to do. But everything felt more just relaxed, as stupid as that is. You had time between places to gallop for the bit and then enjoy the grass and enjoy the sunset. Whereas this game, you're just like, oh shit, okay, stuff in there. Oh shit, a new cave. You go into the cave, you come out of the cave. Oh shit, there's the monster tower over there. Quick, go to that tower. And you're just non-stop in this game. Now, I don't want to make this sound negative. It's a lot. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if some people would struggle with that level of content. But I still feel that the game allows you to play however you want to play. Now, as you mentioned earlier, when I first started playing, I was like, yeah, I'm going to reveal one part of the map through a tower. Then I'm going to do everything in that area. Then I'm going to go to the next map, reveal that, do everything in there. No, fuck that. It's just pointless. Absolutely pointless. You get a sense of overkill. You get a sense of, okay, I'm losing track of what I'm meant to be doing at all right now. So I've tried to balance out my story between my shrine hunts and then my exploration, and I am trying to move through it much more just organically, without setting myself so many waypoints. I'm like, right, I'm gonna head towards this location for the story. And I'm just going to go there organically, but I'm always going to kind of keep going in that direction. Then wherever I do when I get there, I'm going to get there. There'll be 1 or 2 areas I might venture off to just for nostalgia's sake to see what's changed. But that's what I'm trying to do right now. Because I feel like, I mean, if we're both at like 80 hours or something, and I've already done 2 temples. And I don't even know if there's anything else after that apart from main story. I'm guessing it's not. You'll have like a major part then to go off because you've got your spirits and stuff. But if I'm already at 80 hours, let's just say I keep on going to the same now. Holy shit, dude.
Well, I'm just looking in the chat. We have Falcon Black's at 155 hours. Jay's at 50 to
Damn.
55. Brand Smith's at
Damn.
190.
Damn.
Dude.
Holy shit.
But I think this is not so much, this is a content feel of it. You know, because like you said, you'll find yourself, you'll jump into the depths, and then you'll find yourself down the depths for hours because as you keep lighting those
Light
The light
Um,
blooms.
yeah, the light blooms and
Or the
stuff.
light roots.
Yeah, the roots and stuff. You see like this structure appear out of the shadows, and you're just like,
Yeah.
fuck, I can't just ignore that now. I can't just teleport out here. What's going on? I gotta go and see it. And then when you look at yourself in your map, you've traveled halfway across Hyrule by the time you realize that you feel like, okay, I've had enough in the depths now. Let's go out here. Let's get some sunshine. You realize you traveled halfway across the map, so then you teleport back to where you were previously, and then you got to deal with the whole of Hyrule again. And then you see something fall from the sky, then you go up into the sky, or you shoot out of a tower. You're like, oh, there's this little island here now, and I go here for a bit. And it's a lot, man. It's a lot. It's a good a lot, but shit, it's a lot. And I've given up on the completion side. I'm just gonna enjoy my game.
Well,
And when I feel like I've had enough, that's it.
I was excited about that gear that helps you climb when it's slippery, but that's a long quest, man. You got to go to
Is it?
every stable and then one and do the story related to a Zelda sighting, and I'm like, I got one piece of the I think I only got one piece of it. And one I'm like, "Oh, you got to go to Highland Stables down south. They thought they saw her riding a beast." And I'm like, I haven't even gone south of frickin' the plateau
Yeah,
yet.
I know
Like,
what
I
you're
don't want to
talking about.
go there now, so I guess I'm not gonna get this gear anytime soon. By the time I get it, I won't need it. I don't even feel like the wet climbing is as much of an issue because I feel like there's not as many straight climbing moments other than in the depths.
You got too many options though. You got things that blow Rivali's gale out of the water. You don't even need that anymore, just because you can just conjure up a fucking air balloon or something. And just go, okay, see
Yeah.
you later, guys, and just go up
I
into the
hate
sky.
how I feel like the air balloons in the wing are just give me an extra, even a minute. Like it's just they cut them way too short,
The battery drain short, and that's
and
another
they
example.
flash and
I've seen
disappear.
people
Yeah.
with like
No,
green
yeah.
battery after green battery. I still only got one green battery. I
I
don't
got
even know.
I have
got
only one also, man.
I have
ain't
Dude,
two,
I
and
get
then I
more.
have enough to go get another one, but I haven't turned them in yet because I'm not fast traveling. So it takes me a while till I get back to Lookout Landing.
So whatever I'm doing, I'm guzzling these energy cores to get extra yellow ones
Yeah.
just to
Yes.
fly through places.
Well,
I'm just like, man,
It's kind of if you have the Zonite, if you collect a lot, you're kind of wasting the potential of like you don't. It's like in Horizon when I got the flying. I did a lot of side quests. I finally got the flying thing. I had nothing left to do. Basically, all you gotta do is fast travel up to the Great Sky Island, or the one underground. Use your Zonite to buy the cores or whatever, and then in a short time they come back. You just got to go back and forth, and then you use 100 of those. You go to a spot and turn them into an extra, not one battery, but one notch of 3. So you need 300 of the core crystal things, which which requires a lot of back and forth. But I've just been doing it naturally. Once I had 2 batteries, I don't feel like I really need that much more at this point because the damn wing and stuff disappears before I even get close to using up my battery.
oh, when you summon them, yeah, they have a time limit, don't they?
If I think even if you find them,
Really? I haven't come across that.
because I was gonna travel.
If you build like you could build things and they'll just eventually disappear.
Yeah, they put a time limit.
I think that sucks
on the
but,
wing, so you can't just get to like a really hard. Like I haven't even been near that sphere in the sky, and
I think maybe it's just is it just the height?
Because no, even on the ground, I did one just like on the ground. I was like, well, I need to get to this tower, and my horse. I left my horse. I'm too far away, and I just put some fans and a battery on one, and I took off. And I mean, literally within a minute, I only got maybe 50 feet off the ground total. And within a minute, it started flashing. I'm like, God damn it.
So you say that, but at the same time, so I don't know, maybe if you do an auto build, did you do an auto build?
No, I've never.
Yeah,
So I noticed
I've done the older
maybe
build.
with auto build, maybe I don't know if it is. I I built that little thing that's been trending that where it's just like the fan, a s-
Well, it's not,
one
the
of
only
these
things that are limited are the
and a
things that
fan.
fly. The balloon and the wing are the only things that limit how long you can use them.
Do
Got
you know
you.
what? You're
Okay,
right.
okay,
The air
that's
balloon I've
okay,
used
okay, got you.
underground, a normal one,
Because
and that one
what
does
you
time
should
out.
do,
You're right.
Juice, honestly, it's the greatest damn vehicle in the game. It's just a fan, the control, and another fan, and you're just flying
Oh yeah.
like all time. And I mean like tight turns. You can make really good
Well, I've
turns.
seen
Like,
one for the
and I
ground.
literally flew from lookout landing all the way to the top left of the map. Like
Oh
it was like
really?
I mean yeah.
I seen one
That's
where a guy
I
took
think that's the
one
way to
wheel,
go.
one of like has like the dragon design on it. The thing that makes you stand up, the little thing that if you put it on something and activate it, it makes them stand up, keeps you upright basically. And then the little control arm on the left side, and he had this
Hmm.
fast moving, quick turning little
Hmm.
unicycle that couldn't tip over, and it was amazing.
Really.
I'm like, God, I wish I would have thought of that.
Yeah.
But it's literally just three, just the fan could, and like it's such an amazing vehicle, and obviously it's never going to disappear in that way. That
Yeah,
case,
that's a good
so you
idea.
could, if you just have a lot, that's why I think a lot of people use those batteries because you could literally just fly across the map and just really be swinging, be going
Mm-hmm.
around. So that's why that would be pretty good. But I only have one battery, and I used up all my when I charge it, and I'm like, how far can I go? Because I thought it was gonna despawn or something, but it never did. So I figured, I guess now I just realized that's what it is. It's only
I
the
got to
flying
stop doing
vehicles.
that then, obviously.
They probably didn't think somebody would do that. I don't know, but it's
Weird, but I mean, but in that case, technically, I mean, you could literally move up with it, so you could probably eventually get all the way up.
I've seen people with batteries across the whole screen, like they have like 10.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like they really
Yeah.
like
But
that's an insane
I
amount
don't
of
feel
Zonai.
like somebody pointed out, I don't feel like the stamina's that big of a deal in this game. The hearts, I really feel like they made the game more challenging to give you more
Much,
incentive to
way
do
more
the
challenge.
shrines and get your hearts
Oh,
bump,
okay.
get your hearts up. But the one girl I was complaining about how she played Breath of the Wild, she says she's loving Tears of the Kingdom, but she's still on her third temple with 10 hearts. So it's like, well, you say you love this one so much more, but she's playing it kind of the same way. And I'm like, I don't know
Mhm.
how she's going to face anything with only 10 hearts. Like,
Yeah, I
because
mean, like
it's not like
unless you have
hardy
just a bunch
truffles
of
are,
food items.
it's not like the hardy truffles are so abundant. Like most of the things you cook only give you 5 hearts, 6 hearts. Unless you have a heart.
You're right. I think
Yeah,
I've only found the truffles up in the sky most of the time or stuff
No,
like that.
I've only
they're in
found like
caves.
3 truffles, man.
There's
I ain't
one
gonna hold you.
cave where I got like 7 or 8.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so they're in caves more often?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Gotta go to the
Okay.
caves,
Oh, I
man.
think that's
That
where I
makes
found
sense.
one.
That makes sense.
But
And there's
the
one
thing
in
is, like, I
I
particular
haven't
stand
that's
down there.
explored nearly as many caves as I would like.
so I just cook a truffle. You don't even have to cook anything with it, but I have so much meat, I just cook it with meat. You get full health
Yeah.
+1. I have a large hardy truffle, but I don't want to waste it yet. And then I have a hardy radish. I've only found one of those, and
Yeah.
I can't.
Oh,
Every
wait,
time I see
hold on.
a,
Actually, wait. Now I think about it. The hardy radish does what?
you just
All the hearts
cook anything that has
plus.
hardy in the title gives you full health plus an additional amount
So
of
I
hearts.
cooked one thing, right? And it gave me full health plus like 5
That must have been
golden
a
hearts.
large.
You could just cook it by itself. Literally, don't
That would
add
have been
any
a large
ingredient.
hardy radish or a hardy
It also
truffle.
depends on the quality of your cooking, because
I
there's
guess
like
I was a
you
good
have
cook
like
then.
critical hits in cooking. If you get like a special music, your cooking
Right.
Yes,
gets
yes,
better.
yeah. I
You get a
noticed
better
that. I did
result.
notice
I
that.
think it depends on the
Just,
order of ingredients that you pick, because it said the recipe. One of the side quests was follow the recipe to a T. So I did it in the exact order it listed. But I I like how he hums
It
just a
wouldn't
little
even
hint.
surprise me.
He just a
Do you
little.
feel like Sorry, I know we were talking about cooking just then. It just kind of came to my mind before it drops out. Do you feel like they've improved the actual physics in this game? Because sometimes I see like when Link dies, he actually like properly ragdolls now. The way before he kind of like floated on the floor, but I like his arms all like all draped over his face and everything, like
I know when you fall in the first game, it was full
I remember, yeah,
physics,
when you
but I don't
fall in
remember
Breath of the
just
Wild, I remember you
dying.
like really
I
like.
guess I never paid attention when I die.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. And like there's like
Well, the physics are
there's like
improved. You know, I was doing it was IGN's comparison, I think, and just the amount of hair movement. Well, Link's hair is longer, but a lot
Fuck
more
yeah, dude looks
movement.
like a god.
I'd be playing the game with no helmet on. I don't even put anything on his head.
Did you get
Just
the
Same.
so good.
hairband?
Yeah, but the hairband ties it up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yeah,
like,
man, like that sounds good.
nah, I
I,
need
ain't gonna
just
lie,
throw
I
in locks,
usually
man.
wear whatever I just got last time. Whatever I just picked up,
No,
I
I
just
do
start
for
wearing
looks.
that.
I
That
do
makes
the
even less
Gerudo.
sense.
I like the Gerudo hairstyle I rock that a lot. But with the barbarian helmet, it does have like this purplish reddish hair in the back, but yeah, I think you're right. I think there is a little more. The physics are a little more
Yeah,
involved. Maybe
and
they worked
definitely
on them a
with the
little bit.
water, because I done one puzzle that involved like this level of buoyancy where something needed to be like pulled underneath the water,
Oh, really? I haven't
and then
done
it
that.
dude, it's so good. I was just like, fuck, how did they even?
You can pull Link's
That
I
was
hood
didn't
down.
pull them.
definitely
Are you talking
that
about
was
like one where like you gotta bounce something?
yeah. I'll just say buoyancy. I don't want to
Mm.
spoil anything else on that, because when you get to it, it's so much fun. But yeah, I was just like, okay, that wasn't in Breath of the Wild, so
Yeah,
I, I
okay. I think I did that, Sean. I know what you're talking about. So, yeah,
Anybody
it
get
is.
the wing part of the wingsuit? I got 2 pieces. It really
I got
helps.
one.
I've only got the helmet.
So I didn't get
I
the
got
helmet
the
yet.
I got the
I don't
actual
even know what the wingsuit
wings.
is.
It
So
really.
did you do the one juice where you're like skydiving in with the rings? Then
There's multiple ones of those.
there's
There are
multiple
multiple
ones
ones,
of
because
those.
I've been one of those, and I got someone else.
That's another.
I want someone to see if they beat my time. I'm one of them.
I don't know. It
know.
depends on the
Man,
one.
you wanted people beat your record, you still gotta get a bag of fucking Sackboy, bitch. Like you ain't beating
No,
any
Dude,
no. Hey,
records.
listen.
I had
We've been going back and forth on Segway for a
I
little
had
bit.
16
but-
seconds on one and like 18 on the other. I don't think they're not the same though.
Oh, okay.
But it's just
Perhaps they should have added like an online element to that, where you can see your
yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Leaderboard. Friends
I
or
did.
something.
That's what I was thinking. I wish it was a leaderboard.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I didn't just like, oh my god, I'm just gonna focus on one area. I'm not gonna do these things. Is there's a lot of these games with heavy exploration. I learned my lesson with Horizon. You know, I wish I would have went a little bit quicker through to the story where you got to be able to fly the pterodactyl thing, because that made it just getting around the world so much more enjoyable. And I was already at the
Sure.
end of the game basically. Like I already put like 60 hours in it. You know,
Mhm.
so with Tears of the Kingdom, I think the wingsuit's like a perfect example. It just makes skydiving such a way more of a strategic thing. You can actually get somewhere without constantly just relying on your paraglider. You know, it's like
Yeah.
And I don't have the full suit yet, so I'm guessing it gets better. And then I don't know what the upgrade is for it when you get it upgraded with the ferry. But it's just it makes the whole skydiving element actually more enjoyable. So I was like, I would hate to have got that like after I was 150 hours in the game and I don't really have much
Dude,
left
this
to
is the
do.
thing. Just like we were all saying, like there's just so much to do that when I hear Juice talking about it, I'm like,
So-
damn, that sounds true. I may have to do that.
It's so easily missed
This
as
is awesome.
well, though, in this game. So easily missed.
Yeah.
And my daughter got the body part of it. I'm like, where'd you get that from, babes? She's like, I don't remember. I'm like, well, remember, girl, remember. I need it in my life.
Well, all three
Like,
pieces
I'm
come
like,
from
she's only been in, like, like the starting area, a bit out of it. I'm like, I must have gone past it.
They all three pieces come from the same type of challenge. So
Okay, so all right, gotcha.
Thank
But,
you. That's good to know.
who was here last? It was me, T, Sandstorm. None of you guys were here, were you last week?
No, none of us were
No.
there.
Well, Robert, you want to just give your thoughts on the game? You had your time has stayed at 65 for a couple days, so
Yeah,
I've
I
been
was
checking.
busy I was busy this week. I played like another like
Super busy.
3-4 hours like last week. So I did finish the game, and I'm gotten to the point where it's one of those games where I'm like, all right, this is gonna be like Animal Crossing, and I'm gonna have to like just play it on my days off and just, like, do stuff like that, because I'm like, I could, this could easily be a game where I'll just stick to for forever for months on end. I'm like, all right, well, I still want to play other games, and I did like write some scripts, so I was like, all right, and I did hang out with some people, and so it was like it was a busy week for me, and so that's why I was like, all right, well, I'm like, all right, I gotta be realistic with myself. I know I could always just play this game, so this is gonna be like end up being like fucking a year long, generational long,
You're
to be
gonna
honest
play it
with
like retro
you.
plays every game. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I guess, but no, I more than probably end up still like a little bit quicker than retro at least, but like I knew I wanted to at least do the story first, the main quest first, but I didn't start that until probably like a good 15, 20 hours in. I feel like when I was really doing the main stuff, really getting nitty gritty into it, and it was just funny because I remember the first thing I did was like, all right, I'm gonna once I get my paraglider, I'm just gonna go do all the towers. That's what I want to do. So I had got that. And I just went to go around the whole map and did all the towers,
You
and I
got
tried to do as many
dedication,
shrines as I can.
man. Like I
What
can't
happened?
do that. You got dedication, man. Like I can't do that shit in a game
I,
like
I
this.
well, and it was funny because I also didn't go into the chasms until like 3 days later. So I took some days off of work, so I was able to just just play, play, and I didn't go into the chasms like 3 days later. And it's funny because also my stepdad's playing this game, and he was like, "Oh, the chasm," and I'm like, when I first go down the chasm, and hear the dang, that whole that sound is so fucking good. Oh, you know how it is. This is a horrible impression, but regardless, uh, but it's just so good. And I was like, oh man, and like you realize the scale of it, and you're like, oh my god,
The
this is
verticality of it
nuts.
is what
The
surprised me.
verticality is nuts. Yeah, that's just nuts. How it just keeps going and going, and then so seamless, and you're just
Just in the
like,
depths,
oh
though. I mean, the
man,
depths themselves have as almost it feels like as much height as Hyrule
yes,
to the Sky Islands,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
blew
Joe,
me
you're absolutely
away.
right because terrain-wise, you'll come to like this. You come to like a vertical wall. You
uh-huh,
throw a light bloom up there, then you throw a light bloom in front of you, and then a light bloom will like fall down into
Hmm.
the depth
yes.
of Mordor. Like you're like,
Yeah.
I I saw
Wait,
a
what's
pit.
that? It's all the way. I'm like, holy
I saw
shit.
a pit.
yeah.
I didn't want to even test it because I was like, I don't want to die. But I'm in the depths on the ground floor, and like there's look like another chasm. I'm like, do I risk it? I didn't. I don't remember what it is now, where it was. But there's another huge.
Gotta use your stamps, man.
There's a huge
I use my
freaking. I
stamps for a
do.
lot of things, actually.
But there's a huge like drop down, and there's like um a chest at the bottom, and it's like, man, I was shooting my arrows. I'm like, they're just falling. I'm like, I don't see any light. And I kept moving,
Yeah,
and I got to the
those
edge,
types.
and it was way down there. I'm like, holy crap! And you could see the light. It's just amazing.
That's just nuts.
Yeah,
But that's why I was like, it was funny because that day I was like, all right, I'm just gonna explore the chasm a little bit. It ended up being there for like a good 4 or 5 hours, just in the chasm. Just I was like, damn. And so I filled out
T,
like
mute your
the
mic.
middle of the map.
Sounds like somebody's like vacuuming or something.
oh, I thought it was my headphone. I was like, what the hell's going on?
It was like the middle of the map that I did all the light blooms and I guess yeah, I'm very like if I'm like I want to do one thing, I just stick to that thing. And so I do. So I was like, all right, I did all the towers, and then I was like, well, let me do some of the shrines, but I want to actually do this story first. And I do think there are personal benefits to actually just doing the story that you could kind of you feel like you'll have stuff for later on. At least I feel. And it was funny because I did do like some of the memories uh without even knowing that was a main quest because I didn't talk to Impa
Oh,
at all
really?
yet. Yeah, so I was just going around and I saw and I was like, let me at least see what this green geode, whatever is going on here. Let me see let me walk around it. So I walk around and I see this puddle. I'm like, all right, let's see what it tells me to examine it. Well, let's see. It's probably gonna tell me something. And I was on a whole cutscene place. I'm like, well, what is going on? This is crazy. I'm like a cutscene, and then I'm like, oh man, oh that's a memory. I'm like, whoa. And then when I talked to Impa, she's like, oh, there's look at this, and I'm like, and I already did like 4 of them. I was like, oh, wow, okay. So I guess I was doing some main story that I
It's
didn't know.
funny how the game guides us because I know almost everybody did the Wind Temple first, and I know I ran into Impa before I even thought to look for glyphs anywhere. Like I just
Yeah,
So it's funny, but I didn't
they
even know
send you
Impa was
towards Hybra
around.
first. Yeah,
I didn't
what
even know Impa was like around like that. I didn't. notice. Like I just randomly like walked up. I was like, oh, that's like I talked to someone and said, oh, that's Imp over there. I'm like, oh, okay, let me go talk to her. What she gotta
We gotta
say?
pay the
And then they
bills
said
real
main
quick.
quest.
We
They're
gotta
like
pay the
main
bills.
quest.
Sorry to cut you off.
Oh,
Falcon Black, he paid £5. Appreciate it. Just to say he doesn't like the story in this game. I saw a comment earlier. I didn't have a chance to say it out loud. So far, I'm absolutely loving the memories and the.
Here's Falcon.
So thanks for that. I don't know what you don't like. Don't
thank
give
you,
any
thank
spoiler. I thought last week somebody said that they were mad that they didn't give the origin of why Ganondorf's bad or evil. I'm like, I don't. He's evil. He's an evil dude.
Yeah,
But
I don't think you need a.
maybe you
need
could
the
get
Well,
back.
origin.
I don't know.
this goes back to retro, and partly me as well. But retro's always very vocal about it. And as much as we can try to tie in the Zelda storylines, as much as we would like some things to tie in cross games and stuff, they reset their characters, pretty much for every game. So Ganon is a continued theme, but he's still a fresh Ganon. I feel for this game, just like he is a fresh Ganon. For Wind Waker and Twilight Princess and stuff, they can loosely link in some timelines to give you those feels to think, okay, this evil's carrying over and stuff. But I think what Falcon's getting at is more, especially with Breath of the Wild, and Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, is more because of the way they've structured this game. You would like to have a sense of remember that first trailer for Twilight Princess, with the Conan the Barbarian theme and stuff.
Yeah,
And you
man.
galloping across the field and stuff. You really felt like you were going. You saw like the army walking across the hill and the sunset in the background. You really felt like you're going to be fighting a war, an active war. And they do try it in this game. They do try it. I feel, and I think they do succeed. But I can understand the continued narrative of, at the end of the day, you're relaxing still. You're going about doing whatever you want, even though there's a great evil in the background.
Yeah,
You
T
can
was
still
saying
go
that
about your
last week
business.
about how they don't run into
Yeah.
Ganondorf.
Yeah, you can still go about your business for the most part and go and chill in a pony stable, while out to the countryside, you got his hands going,
You hungry?
hey, right, you can
I
still.
mean, not to give like story spoilers really, but that's what I always say. Yeah, I feel like don't think of Zelda as a timeline. It doesn't work. You're gonna ruin the experience. It's its own story. The only game this should be related to in your mind is Breath of the Wild. And I definitely agree. The story feels like a combination, an absolute combination between Breath of the Wild story and Ocarina of Time. It just is. That's literally scene for scene moments you have in Ocarina of Time that you see in this game. I've seen
Yeah,
things, and
yeah.
I'm not far in the game. So I only did one temple, so that people know that. But I have seen things where it's like, dude, it's like they're trying to build off perfection, and I like that. I like that they've come to a point, Nintendo, with their games where they're like, okay, we can actually retell the story in a way better way now, and that's just what they're doing. Like, without a doubt, this is for me personally the absolute most perfect Ganon I've ever seen in a game. I fucking love this guy. He is so goddamn cool, and I love it that it's just this pure evil thing, and we should just accept it. That's what Zelda just is. You have pure evil and pure good and fighting, and you don't need like 10 million hours of backstory of who Ganon is. You know who he is. They kind of say it, and like dude grew up in a fucking desert. What do you think? He would like to see. He would like to touch some grass and shit, and that's all you need to know, really.
Well, they already said it in Breath of the Wild that he was, he was like this stain on their civilization,
Yeah.
wasn't he? This Gerudo King. There's only ever one male. We know of him, and he has no place now in our society, which is run by some
There's a
beautiful
problem.
matriarchs.
The problem is Nintendo acknowledged the timeline.
Yeah.
They should have never done
Which
that.
is which is why I like to joke with retro all the time. Just say,
Which,
hey,
like I said, that's why I
they
like
created
in
it.
in the Breath of the Wild interview, they stated when Breath of the Wild was released, they're like, look, fuck the timeline. Breath of the Wild is its own thing. Stop thinking about the timeline. They said it. They're like, we shouldn't have done this and that, but they did it. because people kept yelling about it for fucking years. They're like, "Here, you can fucking go," But they stayed.
I don't remember them saying literally that. Say, "Hey, I regret making
Well, I mean,
this."
of course, it's Aonuma. He's not going to say "fuck the timeline," but that's basically what he said. I posted the screenshot.
Yes, yeah. In Breath of the Wild, there's actual murals, like in Zora's domain, that directly speak of like Ocarina of Time and stuff like that.
But you have links. I completely agree. You have links and they reuse assets. That's what Zelda has always done. But I mean, stop trying to fucking like link this, to goddamn
Link it?
to like the wands of Gamelon or shit like that. You know what I mean? It's
Well,
like,
they're not gonna do one again.
I tried to write the most stupid example, but that's what I mean. You have to experience this game as its own story, really.
And its own story is, I think, really good.
Well,
like
yeah,
it's,
it's
it's
not
I think it is
really,
very
really
Own
interesting
story
and
because
pretty
it is
badass.
a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild. So
Yeah.
but
And that's what got me excited as well, because like I said, we're in the chat and everything, we'll be discussing this game, but we're not obviously not doing direct story spoilers, so please stay away from it. But it's what I love about coming into this game from Breath of the Wild, because there are moments that still obviously heavily revert back to Breath of the Wild, and I get those feels. Especially when you think about the old champions and stuff. And I'm like, one time I was just galloping across the field, and I was thinking about Link and Zelda. I was thinking, wait there, man. They are 100 years detached from everyone they knew. Right? There's only like one or two people around that they actually knew from their time. So they're like in a new 100-year later Hyrule, having to build up new friendships, new relations and stuff. And that's another thing I loved in this, in this game. You can see the age and the experience etched into everyone as it's carried over from Breath of the Wild. A few years later, Zelda looks more matured and confident. Link looks stronger and even more confident somehow. He's always been a badass anyway.
As a hero by most people.
Yeah, everyone knows Link, the swordsman and all that stuff.
My issue with the 100 years thing is like, who does it affect? Like, they don't really establish like, is 100 years like a normal time for people to be living? Because I mean, clearly that's not the case. But I don't know in world like what 100 years means to an average person. Is that a lifetime?
Yeah.
Is that 2 lifetimes? Like,
yeah.
I don't know if they ever really established that, because it's like, 100 years, and people are talking about it like, yeah, it was something that we dealt with back in the day, like.
I mean,
the
way
I like. Sorry, just one thing. There's actually a little moment. Has everyone been to Hateno Village yet or anything, or?
Yeah.
Been there yet?
Been there yet.
Yeah, okay, it's not a major spoiler or anything, but there's one little moment in there where they have some little kids, and they're like, what's a calamity? I don't believe you. I don't know what you're talking about. And that's just because of like these small little kids who are so completely detached from everything that's happened. They raised there, whereas everyone's still impacted by that. They're trying to get this new life now, with this new danger coming on, but you've got these new kids growing up, and they're just like, I don't know what you're talking about. Will seems absolutely fine to me.
So the calamity that happened in Breath of the Wild, basically, that people were actually living through, why wouldn't they know about that? Because that was like recent. I don't know how many years this game is set after Breath of the Wild.
I got a feeling it's about 7 years, maybe 5
I
years.
say I always think around 5 years is what I think.
Yeah, 5 years maybe.
Some characters
So
grew
I
up.
guess if you're if they were like a little 5-year-old kid running around.
Which they are.
Okay. Yeah. But even then, you would hear it from adults because it would still be pretty fresh. It's like 9/11 just happened 5 years ago. When it happened, when that was going on back in the day, people still felt it. Even they still talked about it. Obviously, this is really deep for a game that.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
I'm not trying to go that far, but what I'm saying is, it's kind of like let's do this. It's kind of like Star Wars, like the new trilogy, right? They talk about the events that happened.
No, we don't talk about what they say.
Like it was generations.
Like it was like 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, we don't talk about those films.
So that's kind of
They
what
got
that's
that
kind of
all
where
wrong.
I'm trying
Just
to go with it. I'm
another
not trying to.
long
But it's
list.
like, oh, the Jedi were real? Yeah, like it wasn't that long ago.
They're talking to full grown ass adults there. They're just like the Force.
To be fair, when
Maybe
when
I'm
it
not
comes
that
to
bad.
when it comes to Tears of the Kingdom, people are still rebuilding from the calamity. That's an
Yeah, they're
active
still rebuilding,
theme in
right?
the game. They're rebuilding from it still. They're
That's
still
another
like
thing.
getting over it and everything. So it's that I definitely feel it's acknowledging stuff. And then they're dealing with like new shit happening now afterwards, like as a consequence of that and everything. So I feel they're kind of still in the middle of it while trying to rebuild.
Hey T, your mic's way lower now that Retro just started talking. You're like a third the volume of.
His is really low for me in general.
Okay. I may not be coming through the right mic. Let
He
me.
just has a nice soft voice. That's all.
So
I'll be back.
Robert, I don't know if you said this while I was feeding my cat. How would you feel? How'd you feel about the story in the game? Do you feel like it was
No,
an improvement?
why I didn't only say a quick little thing that I thought it was really interesting and pretty damn cool, but you know, again, I did finish the main quest, and all I'll say is it's just I do think it's a better story overall than Breath of the Wild. I think by a landslide, to be honest with me. And when you get to certain moments, you're just like, oh, that's cool. and I know you guys, a lot of you guys only did either 2 temples or stuff like that. But it really does. I think it's a big improvement from Breath of the Wild in terms of story wise. And I think it has a lot to do with just building upon it.
Yeah, and I think
I really love that.
the glyphs are a similar mechanic to the memories, but the memories were just like little tiny snippets of random things.
Yeah, this was like these are like really beefy.
Yeah.
This is like main
story modes, like events in history, events that's happening. It's huge, and I love these like the new characters. Like Raru is so cool. Like all those characters are so damn cool. So
I want to get over Raru, but I just can't.
Really?
I can't get over the fact that I know him from.
It's been 80 or not 80. It's been about 70 hours since I've seen him in the game. Well, not that much, but I haven't seen him in a memory. Well, I guess
you've seen him in all the shrines.
The first
So
4 shrines. Well, yeah, you see a statue. I mean,
you see a statue, right?
But as far as like him interacting
with you,
he had a small.
I know what you're saying about the cards as well. I think me and Retro talked about it briefly earlier. I would like to give props to just the general characters of the world itself. All the NPCs, all the new character designs and everything, how their expressions and all this stuff. Because I do feel like they've really nailed some of the character designs. Just even on general NPCs, you could talk to people. They'd be so expressive. They'd be smiling. You can see them when they look sad and all that stuff. And like joking, I was thinking when you play games like Skyrim or Morrowind or Fallout, and it's just like these robot expressions on their faces.
And they're hideous.
Not just that, they have like characters copy pasted.
Yeah, but it's even
everywhere.
on my go-to games like Mass Effect and stuff like that. Outside of the cutscenes, when you're just normally talking to people, God, they're just like machines. But in Breath of the Wild, call it the art style and stuff, whatever. But still, they've gone with it, and they are really expressive. They're always smiling, or they're looking sad. They're just like, oh, and all that stuff. And I just love how everyone moves. It's just
in Hateno Town or Hateno Village, not town. I was thinking Tari Town. I haven't gone to Tari Town yet. Like
no, still not.
The mayor, you have 2 opposing people. I haven't done the quest, but they're just they're so full of character. And then the only I would say. I know Falcon. I don't know, man. Like you're really looking for something, but yeah, I guess you could say where the Sheik attack go. But I feel like I need to rewatch the ending. I swear the shrines like receded or something at some point.
Yeah, where the
Sheik attack is
went
there, but
is that they got rid of it. That's what they spent the first 5 years doing, saying let's get rid of all these damn things that nearly killed us.
Right? Do you want Sheik attack hanging
around?
That's like, oh yeah,
but
little Terminator T-800s laying everywhere. No, I don't want that.
I think the Divine Beast, though, I think that if they don't ever explain what happened to those, or there's no like indication, that would be a little weird because those things were
the Divine Beast. That's the big thing. Like
I expected them to be like part of the landscape, or
I want you to fly that meadow, right? Pick up Router, and all these other ones and dump them in the middle of the damn ocean, right? And then fly that bird back. And we're gonna fill it with TNT.
Yeah.
We're gonna blow that motherfucker up, right? And
They
anything
took,
that's
they
left
took him
over.
to the Golden Land and closed the door.
Yeah, exactly. Close the door. Get the
We're
fucking.
done with that.
Never again.
You sealed
I
them
mean,
in like Ganon.
because they got rid of all the tech and stuff, it makes sense they did probably dismantle them or something. I don't know. I feel there could be like an
They
explanation.
have
people
used
just
some of it.
come
At the end
up
of the
with.
day,
Yeah, there probably is some type of explanation.
Purras,
Some
I would like-
NPCs
some
and
of it.
I
some
wish they would
random
have shown
thing.
it. I wish they would have shown like them bagging all the
Well,
stuff
you got
up and,
the,
kind of carrying it off.
in Round Death Mountain,
would be
there's
cool.
there's the hot springs in the shape of the divine beast, and I thought, oh, it must be where I was like, oh, this is a footprint. Oh, where's it at? And then I just zoomed out, and it's just a lake shaped like, I forget the name of that one's Redania.
Or maybe that's where they first excavated it, and that was the building.
But
Yeah, I don't blame them. For
there
not
is,
wanting
I
to
guess,
hang around.
a little nitpick is a few redundant quests. Like Hateno Village, you have another quest with a stalker dude where you have to find 10 critters to present to a girl that he likes. But this one's like almost more extreme. This is like creepy. I didn't want to give him the 10 frogs because I was like, this is too much. But that was the exact same quest in Hateno in the first game. There's a couple more like that where you're doing the same thing again.
I think I know. You're
And
talking
I'm
about.
like-
that town has gone crazy now.
And I'm like, I'm not complaining, but at the same time, it's the least like enjoyable of the things because I've already did them in Breath of the Wild. So if there's a few things where I'm just like, why did they include? They should have just either done nothing or tried to come up with something a little different.
The thing is, you've always had crazy ass characters like this in most Zelda games. Zelda characters, people like say, yeah, man, I want to go to Hyrule. I want to live in Hyrule. I'm like, have you seen the people living in Hyrule? No fucking thank you, man. These motherfuckers are crazy. You step on someone's flowers, she'll literally straight up beat.
Yeah,
your ass
that's
to
another
death.
one. There's a flower lady, but it's a different. That one has a different spin to it, so it's.
I mean, I don't mind that you have 1 or 2 quests or shrines.
Yeah, it's
that
only
feel
a few.
similar, specifically to the quest, because I feel like you go to a place, and like I feel in Breath of the Wild, for example, you go to Hateno, and I was like, oh, you go to Hateno because the laboratory is there. So you go to the laboratory, do the thing. You talk to 1 or 2 people. There's a dice store. You can build your house in Breath of the Wild there and that kind of stuff. They have a little quest with that. But I feel now you go to Hateno, it's goddamn fucking chaos. There's these struggles between these different societies. You have 10 people. You have the guy stalking the girl. The other guy's like stuck somewhere. You got like 5 people there with different. I feel like almost every. I'm not saying almost. This is maybe an exaggeration, but I feel like almost every fucking NPC has some quest for you. There's so many quests and things related to everything. That's why I'm saying, like, dude, I've played like 75 hours like Robert. I did fucking 1 temple, I got like fucking 3 towers left to do, there's just so much fucking shit. So like, yeah, here and there you might find a quest that's kind of similar, but honestly, it doesn't bother me.
And we'll talk about the towers. Even something like the towers have little things that, hey, do this just to do the tower. You know what I mean? And it just like
I'm not being
it just
funny.
feels so inventive just to get a damn map instead of just clicking A or something. It's like there's a little bit more to it, and it's very cool.
There's one tower I had to help my daughter with. She's like, why can't I open the door? The guy's outside. He's like, I can't open the front door. Why can't I open the door? I'm like, oh, babes, you got to do this and that. And she got to it. She's like, I don't know where to go. I was just like, it's really fucking difficult. Some of the simple things. Even if you just want to see the goddamn fairies, why there's got to be a quest? I love the quest, right?
That's my favorite quest in the game. To be honest.
Yeah, I love the quest. It's really fucking good. And there's a female who was playing the music. I took a photo of her. I was like, man,
the
she's
violin
gorgeous,
girl.
man.
We already talked about.
Yeah, the violin girl. I was like, oh, she's absolutely gorgeous. I fucking love these character designs. But I'm like, everything now just seems so much more difficult,
more layered.
I feel that there's balance where everything is the game is just hard as shit. Like it's really fucking hard overall. Like I'm dying all the fucking time.
Yeah.
But on top of that, like you said, the getting the fairies is harder, getting the towers is harder. But geographically, like the memories, you see where the memories are, you see where the towers are. The fairies have this massive thing showing you where they are now. I feel like it's showing you easier where everything is. but you gotta fucking work to get it. And I kind of like that middle they found.
Well,
for
even
that.
the chasms,
I-
even the
well-
chasms are just this red hole. You know, it's like, all right, there you go. That's a chasm. Let's go down it. You know, it's like
How's my mic,
everything
by the
really is
way?
working
Good,
out.
good.
Better. Even
Yeah, it's
well, you just brought up made me think of something. Is anybody in here cheating?
You talking about
In
like
what way?
duplication or
Shooting.
something?
Duplication.
I didn't do it.
No,
no,
I haven't
I
done
didn't
it.
even know about
I don't
it
know
until
how
I
to
heard the
do it.
patch.
Even
I
It's
haven't
so
done
glitches
easy.
and shit.
It's so easy. It's too hard for me not to do it.
Oh, yeah?
The only thing I
It's
do
so
it for is
easy.
diamonds, just because I'll never have 10 diamonds for this one
Right.
minor
Uh,
quest.
Yeah, for small little, not small things, but things like that where I'm not going to be scouring the depths over and over again looking for diamonds. That's not fun for me.
Gotta go to the
I'm not gonna
caves,
do it.
man. Don't go to the
I
depths
still, I
for
only have
diamonds.
4. I actually
Well,
used, I
arcades.
fused
I'm
one.
not gonna.
I found 5 diamonds total, 75 hours. And
Oh,
I'm-
I had
sold.
2.
I've sold every single one. I've.
Here's the funny thing. I had 2, or I had 1, and I went to do the duplicate. I went to do the duplication trick. Basically, you have to jump and use your sail, and so I did that. But I didn't think about, oh yeah, I should probably do it in a smart area. So I didn't. So you have to jump and hold your whatever, and then when you drop them, it just duplicates it like you never held it. Basically, is what is happening. But you have a bunch in your hand, and they still stay in your inventory. So I did it, and that bitch dropped into the water, and I never saw that bitch again.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
I
hilarious.
was like, oh fuck. Maybe I should have
That's-
found a better spot to do this.
It's like
Like-
Juice when he was like, I'm always running out of. I mean, that was like a long time ago. Maybe it's not the same anymore. But Juice was like, I'm always running out of money. But I'm here, and one of the main things I wanted in this game was like caves. So I legit even set my sensor plus to the bubble gems and shit. So I even find caves that might be missing. I'm like swimming in diamonds and shit,
Yeah,
man.
isn't
Like
shit
I
like more
Really?
expensive?
Yep.
Too? Isn't
Some
like
of the gear is
out
like really high
gear.
price.
isn't it really expensive?
some
It's-
stuff.
I think it's
pretty
just,
basically
I
what-
think it's the luck of
what
the
they've
draw
done-
though. I don't think.
I think what they've done with this game is that they're basically saying you ain't having another Zelda game this size, right, for another 20 years. All right, so everything you got to do in here is going to take you 20 years to get. All right.
You don't think we'll get another Zelda in 6 or so years? And they said that this is going to be kind of their format going forward.
I'd be surprised of this game. I
But I'm
like
saying,
of this.
they said it,
specific
like,
one.
they're gonna keep
I
adding
wouldn't have.
layers to
What,
it.
what are you gonna do? You can't keep using. You can't
Go to
use this Hyrule
space.
again.
Well, you could do space, and then you
Yeah.
you could
And
do
you
don't
still
even
have to use this
actual
Hyrule
heaven
again.
and
you
hell.
could do an entire Dark World. Like there.
Because we're supposed to get a new Link and a new Zelda probably for the next one.
We could be in the Sonya and what's his name? Ranru?
Raru.
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 You could go to that Hyrule.
Yeah. Like
It's
go
pretty
back in
similar.
time. Like literally just go forward and back.
To the current Hyrule, that'd just be a prequel.
I honestly,
Uh,
I just can't come to it. I can't even process like the potential of another Zelda yet because I feel like I'm still early in this game. I'm just
well,
like,
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I just feel like, would they be able to get away with more tracking down memory story through that? You know, going to a spot and getting a flashback type of thing, doing shrines to build your heart. I mean, would that work forever, or would you want it again?
well,
I don't think it.
I would say
think people
shrines
are
could
taking.
work because they're so like to me the shrines in this game are better than Breath of the Wilds. Like I like the shrines even better in this game. So that's
I
something
think
that you
I
can
think I
keep-
agree with you.
I-
think I
Yeah,
agree.
I think that's something you can keep building on. You can keep doing that. Korok seeds, I'm done with Korok seeds, bro. Like, like I don't want to see.
Well, I
Because
don't even try to get into it.
My biggest problem with Korok seeds is, all right, we did it in Breath of the Wild, and I know, where a lot of those are, and I know the kind of tropes, and oh, here's a rock, so here's probably one under that. But then they add this "carry me to my friend" shit.
Mhm.
That's the shit I can't. Like that gets too tedious.
I love those.
Yeah.
I get so bored doing. I'm like,
You gotta build like the vehicles and shit
I know,
to
I
move
get,
us.
here's
Yeah.
the thing. I get it because Nintendo likes to do things where it's like, okay, we want you to use a mechanic
Mm-hmm.
to do this thing. All right, I get the mechanics at this point. I don't need, 50 more Korok dudes who need to get to their friends.
at this point. So that's why it's getting old for me. It's like, all right,
I'm
I already
having
know how to build. I know you're trying to teach me how to build and to make sure I use, my abilities and stuff. You're already done that. 20 guys in. I don't need any more little fat Korok
I
dudes
like
with
it
the
because they feel like
backpacks.
different riddles where like here's a Korok and they show you where you have to go and the terrain is always different and you're like, how the fuck am I gonna get from here to there? I'm thinking, okay, what vehicle can I build to get this guy over there? Sometimes go over land, sometimes over water. I posted a video on Twitter. There was one Korok. This dude was driving me fucking insane. I couldn't get him to where he wanted, so I just strapped him to a rocket and shot him over
That's
the
my
water
thing.
with the rocket.
You don't have to do what they try to get you to do. You can cheese your way through it. So it's just like, if I'm gonna do that, why even do it in the first place? I don't need to.
Because
Just
that's
give
it.
me
You can
enough.
do it however you want it. You can do it the
And they're
easiest way you
optional
want.
too.
Sometimes I just
Well,
walk
they're
them there. I
optional,
just
but you
grab them and I
need the
walk.
spaces. You get them. You
But
get the Korok
there's
spaces
way
to have
more regular ones than there are those ones.
Yeah, they have, but they added more than those. You have the arrow ones; they are new. I have
Yeah.
one Korok that I found where literally you had to stand on a specific spot and use the ascend ability, and it liberated a Korok. That's like
Well,
so
here's the
many
thing.
different ways.
I'm talking about the friend Korok thing to carry me to my friend thing.
Yeah,
But
Captain
I'm just done
Korok.
with Korok Seas to begin with. I'm done with like looking them up, like because I've done hundreds of them in Breath of the Wild already, and it's like, okay, you want me to do that same thing again, which I didn't really love to do in the first game, and now you're adding another tedium on
No,
top of it.
I get it. I'm not done with Koroks, but I understand the frustration of if you don't get inventive, right, then you will literally have to carry that Captain Korok just using your
Which I've done a couple times.
Yeah, well, a
thing
lot
and
of
just
people have
carry
done.
and just carry him there. That takes forever.
So just
There's
throw
also
them off the mountain. They just roll.
yeah, there was also a part of me where I was like, I don't want to be mean to this poor Korok. I saw people strapping into a rocket and then flying off. I'm like, yo, that's brutal, man. And then I got chased after him. I can't be doing that. Now I'm just sometimes I'll see one, I'll just mark it on a map. If I'm in the mood for it, I'll try and do it. I'll see where I need to take him. If it's
I do that
if it's close
sometimes
enough,
too for things.
close enough, I fine. If it's too far away, I'll just mark it. I'm like, if I decide to come back to it at some point, maybe I will, and then I move on.
How many
I
markers
don't
do
stress
you
about it.
get?
How many
Here's the
what?
thing, though.
You
Like,
got
Not
like,
enough
isn't it like
for me.
300 or something? Like, I think it's you can add like an
lot.
insane amount.
here's the thing with the Koroks, though. Like in Breath of the, I'm actually saying Breath of the Wild. One of my top 5 things in Breath of the Wild that I wanted, that I was like, it's never gonna happen. I'm like, bring back Koroks, man. I love the fucking Koroks. So they brought them back, and then Tears of the Kingdom happened, and like I'm booting up this game. I'm not thinking of anything. I find my first Korok. I literally went like, holy shit, it's a fucking Korok. I'm happy. I love these guys. Every time I see them, they're like laying on their back. Like I just love that shit.
I think I've done about.
Like, I got more important shit to do than be carrying around Koroks and building stuff. Like, I got more important stuff to do. Let me get my freaking slots in a more,
I will say
more
that
fun way.
I don't want that to be the thing in the next game. Like pick up a rock,
Because-
get a Korok, and I find it fun because I do love the exploration. But yeah, they could come up with a new way to expand your weapon slots.
That's what I originally wanted to say. That's what this discussion actually started over. I think people are completely taking out of context what Ainuma said. We're not going to get a third game that's exactly like this in this world with these mechanics. He probably thinks of something very specific when he says, like, this is the road we're going to continue on with Zelda. I don't think that means you're going to get another same fucking Hyrule with the same characters, with the Korok seeds and the shrines. 100%, I don't believe that's going to be the next
I don't think
Yeah,
they're
because
the most.
he asked him this after Skyward Sword, and he said a very similar thing about Skyward Sword. I'm like, okay, bro.
Well, here's the
You
other
just
thing.
saying stuff.
Reading
Cool.
Sally's comment, like I don't get in the Sky Islands that often, so I don't have many of the Zonai devices like on hand. Like I probably have a dozen fans, and I don't have any large Zonite to just fabricate one without having the gear. So, like I can't just whip up something on the fly. I probably have enough to do that for a few. So, but I'm almost always on my horse when I cross one. And I'd say a legit complaint I have is you can't just equip a different saddle that can carry a carriage. You have to go to a stable, go through some dialogue to switch to that saddle that has the little wood block that you can attach anything to. It's like I should be able to switch to that wherever I'm at. And if that was the case, then I could just easily just attach a Korok to it and drag them. if I didn't want to do anything else, you know. So the other thing too is I feel like they give you like an actual carriage where the wheels actually pivot and stuff. You can't make anything close to that. Like you try to make one out of just four wheels on four pieces of wood or something, and it doesn't want to turn. It has no suspension. And like
There's a trick I found for that. You can actually use a cooking pot, like a Zonai cooking pot, in between, and then it gives that.
Okay. Well, I mean that's cool. And I guess another speaking of the cooking pots, I hate that it's a one use. Just let me have it and have it sit in that area.
Yeah.
If I want to cook 5 things, let me cook 5 things. If I want to cook 3, 10, whatever, let me cook that many, not just one specific. Cook one item and it disappears. Now I have plenty of them, so it's just a question of tediousness of constantly getting more out. Like I could get 5 out at once or 10 out at once, and it's just like that to me felt like an unnecessary limitation. Like if you're gonna have a cooking pot, just have me use one and cook as much as I want and move on, and it'll disappear if I get too far away. Stuff like that.
I think we're finding a lot more like little things, little niggles like that in this game.
Yeah, these are
But I
all
think
little
that
nitpicks.
yeah, but that's primarily because it's doing so much. I mean, at the end of the day, there's so many systems there, so many ideas, so many items, so many weapons, so many cooking things that you can just all do at once. I think I mean, there's always going to be a few things that just like, oh, this doesn't quite work. This annoys me a little bit, but it's not broken. You know, I just gotta work. It's like throwing things. Why do I have to hold my weapon
It is kind of annoying.
and then select the item and then to throw it? But it's just like, well, how else am I going to do this? You could probably just. I mean, would you have held up to select the item and then hold the trigger to get ready to throw it? Either way, you're still pausing. Do you know what I mean? It's just.
Yeah, there's a
It's
couple
just
of
so
things like
much.
that where I'm
Yeah.
still struggling with hitting the right buttons. Like I pulled the T, I went jump off a cliff, I went to skydive, and I threw my freaking sword. Luckily, it was there on the ground when I landed. But I'm like, why
Crazy,
didn't that
right?
trigger my
That's crazy.
skydive at that moment? And I still hit up to select a different rune, you know, to change my abilities. I still hit up on the D-pad instead of L.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
but
slightly getting over it now, but I know
yeah,
you're talking about.
there's
I'm still
so
there,
many. I mean, there's nothing else you could do. There's every button's used.
I say
every
slightly getting over it. We're 80 hours in. If we're not getting over it by now.
every fucking time I want to put away my weapon instead of X, I somehow hit down on the D-pad. I don't know if it's because of Elden Ring. There is a game that fucking does that. So every time I'm near enemies want to put my weapon away, I'm whistling. The enemies come fucking running towards me and shit. Like
That didn't
Oh,
change.
I've done that before where I'm like, I didn't mean to whistle. I'm like, why is it
I've
whistling?
whistled
I don't even
so
have a
many
horse
times.
like that. Like,
Yeah.
let me like change
The
that
whistle's
whistle
like
to something completely
so
different.
needed. I swear I have no way to prove it. I feel like in Hyrule, when I'm on the ground, I'm on my horse 65-70% of the game so far.
Really?
Everywhere I
I
go.
just run, man. I'm running around
I
everywhere.
hate running. Any game
I'm
that
using the
doesn't let
horse a
me
lot
run
more.
fast without having to stop for stamina or something like that, like in Bloodborne, it used your stamina, but in Elden Ring, if there's no enemies around, you can run forever. Same with the horse and stuff. So that's to me, I feel like even though I'm still pressing up, when I'm on foot and I'm moving slow, it just stresses me out. Like it just kind of to me, I feel like I press the stick harder and it hurt. My thumb gets sore because I'm trying to move faster. I feel like just let my stamina, if I'm in an open field, just let me run to my heart's content, you know. But
Then you gotta build some elixirs, man. Speed up elixir and that
but
kind
yeah,
of shit.
to me the horse is the way to go. I feel lost when I don't have it, and
I use the horse more than I did in Breath of the Wild. 100%. I
Yeah.
use it more. Also for the Koroks sometimes, and to come around, I feel something just I don't know what it is. It feels better in this game on the horse, but most of the time I'm still like on foot. I'm climbing. I'm building fucking hovercrafts and shit. You know, just flying around and stuff. Like I just love trying to build up different things.
There's definitely
Plus, like I have.
Sorry, go on,
I was,
Roger.
I was just gonna say, like, I just have a mad and like juice. Like when I started the game, you know, after the beginning area is over and I dove into the first chasm, I was literally in the beginning of Zelda for a few hours, and I think then I was like 10, 20 hours just in the depths. So I have this massive inventory of like all that shit. So I can just build whatever I want whenever I wanted, with the new abilities and that kind of stuff. So I don't need a fucking
Well, I
horse when I
didn't
can
want to. I
fly
don't.
all the time.
Let's get into a mechanic that to me is like a big game changer for this game over Breath of the Wild. It's not the Ultra Hand. It's the damn fusing the weapons. And at first, I thought it was stupid. I'm like, why can't I just find a good sword? Why do I find all these level 6 travel swords, a royal sword that's like level 10? Now I'm just like, oh, I just killed a silver bokoblin. Let me see what its horn does. Holy shit! That now I have a level 41 sword, and
But I've already just started doing it.
and I look forward to the encounters because I can use this sword because I know I'm about to get a horn that I can make another one. Well then, wasn't even thinking. In the first Breath of the Wild, you had to shoot the dragons to get various items to upgrade your main 120 shrines gear you get. You have to have chunks of the scales and stuff and fangs.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I see a dragon, I might as well get it. So I shoot it on its horn, and I go down and I grab it. It was the blue one, Nidira, whatever the name is. And I'm like, I was searching through my inventory. I was like, oh, I got to make a good sword. I got a sword. And I did by most, what is it, attack power or whatever, where it lists it by most, what gives you the most power. And that was like, the horn was on there like number 5, and it has this badass shape. And I'm like, I didn't have a sword to merge it with that I wanted to because I want to get a higher level sword. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that. So now the horn off the dragon can be merged, fused with my sword. I'm like, and then you can tell the ones that are going to be axes, ones that are good for spears, because you put like a hammer on the end of a sword, it looks stupid. Or you try to put something that's on a long sword, and I put like the black bokoblin or horriblin, however you say those, and it was just like this little tiny hammer shape at the end of my claymore. I'm like, that looks stupid, but I put it on my like a stick, and it made this awesome looking hammer. So that to me, and I haven't looked up anything on like best combinations. I'm just trying to figure them out, and then when I get a good weapon, as soon as it starts flashing red, I go to an Octorok and I have it repair it for me so it gets back to full HP, so I can keep using it. I've had the same diamond sword for like the last 30 something hours. Every time it flashes red, I go to the Eden area, or what is it, Eden? Whatever, the Death Mountain area, and Elden, and I let him suck it up so he repairs it for me. That's how attached I am to this weapon.
That's funny.
But
I definitely love like how certain combinations, because they didn't show that in the trailers. You saw a rock on a stick, you're like, man, I don't need a rock on a stick all that. But yeah, depending on what combination you use, it just actually morphs into like really fucking amazing weapons and stuff.
And I haven't tried.
The trailers told us nothing about
nothing about that. I mean, we saw
absolutely nothing.
So I think Zeltec or somebody showed like, hey, that looks like 2 items together. I mean, he figured that out before, but it's like we didn't talk about it last week, and it's for me it's such a cool thing. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna keep this sword. Well, if you get let's say you just get a regular level 10 sword, throw it to the Octorok, and he might spit out one that has +6 attack or extra durability, and I'm gonna put my best highest strength item with this. But I haven't even messed with like, I put the highest like ones that can give me the highest damage, but like Falcon says, you put a Garuda weapon, he says a thunder material, so I'm guessing like a shock fruit or something. And
that makes sense.
That makes sense because they're all about lightning. So it's just stuff I didn't think about, it's that in itself.
It's not even just the items and that kind of stuff. I had a shrine thing, one of those trials, and it was way too fucking hard. I couldn't beat it and stuff because it was one of those where they take all your shit away, And I'm like, dude, I cannot find like 20 of these fucking guys with nothing, And then I noticed there were like spikes on the floor. I'm like, wait, they're not part of the decor. So I was like, let me just see if I can fuse it to a stick. And then you got like this fucking spike paddle, and then it becomes easier. It's like you can put like a fucking cage on a stick as a weapon and shit.
I seen somebody put one of the rocks that fall on a boomerang and threw the boomerang and it came back. The ones you ride up, the ones you can ride up. I would have never thought you could fuse that.
No.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah, actually,
it's
they
this big
introduced
rock
that.
thing going, and it's coming around like it's weird. It almost looks
That's pretty
dumb,
cool.
but all right. So Hobbit on Hold brought up the temples. So last week I had done the 2 temples. I haven't done anymore, not because I'm like waiting or like saving them. It's just every time I'm like, oh, I want to go do Death Mountain. I'm like, and I get distracted. I still want to get to the Akala region. I just got to Hitano Village. So my 2 that I did, the first one was really good. The second one I didn't really enjoy. The sand one I didn't enjoy that much. I thought the boss fight, which I saw a couple other people said the same thing. The boss fight was just a slog. I did not enjoy it, and I know Clock that you did it. You did the Zora
So
one.
I've done the wind, the Hebra, and the Zora one. So the wind and the water temple.
So I had one that was really good and one that was mediocre. What are you feeling about the 2 that you did?
I have we all done the wind one? I think we have.
I think
Yeah,
so.
I've done the
one
wind
you
one.
done.
The wind one is the only one I've done.
Yeah. So I think that was so far easily the most standout one that I've done, compared to the Zora one. Now the Zora one I did indeed still enjoy the run up to it, especially I don't want to spoil it, but just visually I just love this one moment as you get to the temple. And then when you get up there, it's just so much fucking fun. So I enjoyed all of it. The boss up there, um, I think that's a what the juice is a Skyward Swords octopus. What the fuck is this type of type of boss? So I didn't like the boss that much, and neither did my daughter.
I wonder if it's
Who's
the one
actually
from the
done that one as well.
trailer. There's a creature in the last trailer that I haven't seen yet, and I'm guessing it's that one. But
Yeah, but but I didn't hate it. But funnily enough, at the same time, I'm going, you know what, man? If I was to compare like a Gaddon Blight to this particular boss, then I'll take a Gaddon Blight.
that's
So I think there's a balance between, between both games at the moment in terms of what's good and what's really okay.
I felt that I easily felt that way about the sand one. Like, not only is would I rather had Thunderblight Ganon, I would have rather had any of the even the I don't even remember which one I liked the least. I guess from Breath of
Would
the
you
Wild.
rather have the toe battle with the imprisoned?
No, but because of Riju running around and I couldn't get her to activate her power, it
Hit
was
them toes, boy.
it was frustrating on a different reason.
Hammer
And
time.
so it's not. And I know Retro, we had a debate in the chat, but we didn't talk about this. So the getting up to the Wind Temple was amazing. That's like one of the highlights. The boss fight was great, but the actual what you're doing on the boat to me is less interesting than the Divine Beast for me. Just the activate the
Is that
5
gonna be
things.
a theme? Because that's how I felt about.
And on the Sand Temple, it
Wind
was
Temple.
even more. That was even more apparent. Like, I like how it looks, and I like there's different floors and all this, but what they actually had, I feel like they wasted the potential of having that scenario or having that structure, and then just you got to activate 4 things in the Sand Temple, and they're pretty relatively simple.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed with that.
Is that
aspect.
a product of the size of this world? Is that something we're just not gonna get? Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess style dungeons because of the world that we're dealing
Well, I
with.
would. I mean, honestly, I know Retro would disagree. I felt the Divine Beasts were more interesting because you're manipulating stuff. It just felt so like not afterthoughty, but like they had less time or planning spent on that aspect of it. I mean, there's so much to do in the game. I almost feel like maybe that could have been a reason. Hey, we don't want to make these super long because there's so much other things to do. If that's the reason, I'll accept that like gladly.
Did you do the Wind Temple T? Did you do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so because people love bring up Ocarina of Time, without a doubt, Ocarina of Time has probably still the best dungeons in all of Zelda. You know, Forest Temple, it's never been outdone. You know, Spirit Temple, all that
That's
shit.
one of the
But
easily one of the best.
people
Great
need
Jabu
to
Jabu's
know
belly.
people need to remember Ocarina of Time also had fucking Lord Jabu Jabu and the Dodongo Caves, which are both really fucking annoying and really
That was
vomit
dope.
looking,
That's
you know.
subjective. That's kind of subjective.
Jabu man, Jabu Jabu like carrying around that bitch all the time with all these
What you
call
weird,
it?
like,
Oh
electric
my
shit.
What you call it?
I really enjoyed
I'm just
that shit a
saying
lot.
that when you compare stuff like that to the Wind Temple here, there's no contest. The Wind Temple is absolutely far superior than those two, you know. Like I'm not saying overall, so far I've only done the Wind Temple, but like what Juice last week, he was like talking about like the divine beast and that kind of stuff. He's like, everybody is like, well, how did you say it, man? Everybody's full
I
of
said
shit.
if you're saying
and
this is like a
thing-
huge step up over the divine
Yeah.
beast, you're lying. Like the actual
Exactly.
boat, what you do when you're in the boat.
Yeah, exactly.
I
And
can't
I'm
believe
want
that.
fucking challenging that 100 goddamn million%.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
guess
believe that
my
Princess
main-
Ruto,
my
that
main
Princess
complaint-
Ruto and
my-
Jabu Jabu disrespect, right? I can't get over it. You
I
just
know,
can't
right?
move on
You
from that,
already
right?
lost. It's over.
Fuck
It's
the
just-
Jabu Jabu temple. I got that every time
She
I
was so
restart
cute.
Ocarina of Time and I get to Jabu Jabu, I fucking hate that shit. But anyway,
It's one of my favorite dungeons in the game. Right there.
Juice, you said that thing about the divine beast, like everybody's like full of shit, whatever. I'm like, no. Like, yeah, you can think the divine beasts are better, and I can accept that if that's what you think. But since the beginning, the fucking beginning of Breath of the Wild, I've said my main fucking thing that I absolutely cannot stand is a divine beast. I hate these. I want more traditional dungeons. And over the years, we've talked about what those dungeons could be. And I feel now I have what I wanted. I wanted just themed temples. It doesn't just mean, oh, it's a wind temple.
Like
No,
I
it's
said
a
last
themed
week,
temple
you like that it
that
has
is
a different look.
It's not just, that's what I'm saying. It's not just the fact that it's a different look. It's integrated into the story. There's like legends behind it. It's part of the world. And you go there, and then you have a different look each one. There's a different song and everything. There's a different reason why you're there. There's a different boss. There's all this stuff. And like maybe people can be like, yeah, but it's kind of like a maze kind of thingy. What they did is kind of weird. But you have to take into account, specifically, I feel, the ascent ability, which is you think will break the entire game, and they have to build everything around these abilities. You have to build everything around the absolute freedom you have. And when I was in the Wind Temple, I got emotional. I was literally thinking like, thank you. This is everything I've wanted. I feel like I'm in this wind area. In the air, it's a wind temple. There's this music. I'm like walking around. It's absolutely beautiful. They integrated like the ice stuff with it and everything. And the boss, there's a reason why everything has happened to the area. It's affected by the temple. That's all I wanted. You can say
you're
people are
good with
full
it
of
just being
shit,
a box.
but
that
this
says
is all
Wind
that
Temple.
I wanted. What?
There's a box that says.
But
the
what
Wind
about the
Temple. That's
actual
all you need for a
doing
temple.
the
No, but come
5
on, the wind
things?
temple, you're literally like in the air for so much. You're literally in the sky.
Yeah, but I'm talking
this-
about what you
It's a
actually
lot
do.
of
Actually
design
do.
is based around the whole.
Yeah,
it's
all
not
that
just
stuff's
like
cool.
a box. There's
Okay,
you
so is
literally do
the
so much
Temple
in
of
that
Time
box.
is it Temple of Time compelling to you as well? Like
Temple of
Is that-
Time.
yeah,
Like
because
Ocarina of Time's Temple of Time?
no Temple of Time in Tears of the Kingdom.
I mean, I don't really count that as an actual temple, though. There's
Why
like
not?
there's other stuff I cannot say because I've seen things in this game that I know only Robert has seen that I wasn't supposed to see yet that I
There's puzzly
played.
things
And
in
And
there
it's
that you-
nuts.
Other things.
It's fucking
doesn't-
bonkers.
The Wind Temple is its own dungeon. You can't be like that's like saying the fucking Ice Cavern Ocarina of Time is like a temple, like it's a dungeon.
Back to
It's
the ice
not,
caverns.
you know.
He's trying to throw side disrespect.
So
to the
I'm.
ice caverns and trying to make them into dungeons.
It sounds like the big factor.
They're not dungeons.
The big factor is having it
We're
themed
back on
around
this again.
something, like a wind or sand or water. I'm guessing have its
Just
unique look,
anything,
which
yeah.
I agree. The Divine Beast could have had more unique. It makes sense that they wouldn't be all like
Interiors.
different looking, different.
Interiors,
But-
right? That's
Yeah, the interior. It makes sense.
Not just in also
that
the
they were
stuff
what
that
they
around
were
it.
because they were built all from the same idea.
Yeah, it
different
makes-
technology.
it makes sense
in
that
the
they would
world
all
of the
look
game.
the
That's
same.
why they all.
I'm not
look
saying it
alike.
don't make sense. I'm just saying that I hate
But
it. Like
I love you
mean,
added all
again,
the cool
bosses-
stuff from that, but you don't add the cool stuff for getting like
That's
Von
what I'm saying.
Meadow
How do you hate
doing that when you get flown up in the air from Tiba and you're
and
shooting
So,
them with the
okay.
bomb
shooting
arrows.
lasers at
my
you.
Breath of the
It's just a concept and name only. There's not a whole lot
first-
going on.
The first divine beast I did in Breath of the Wild was the volcano one. I don't remember the fucking name. And I went in there. I was like, holy shit, this is such an absolutely incredible experience. You're in it. You're walking in the volcano. It was mind blowing. You got this cool boss at the end. I'm like, okay, cool. This is absolutely amazing. I do the second boss. It looks the same. It plays the same. The twisting mechanic is a little bit different. It has the same boss. It's the same shit. I'm like, oh, that's kind of stupid. And the third time, I'm like, why? Why is it all the same?
Same boss in name, but not in...
No, these bosses, they look borderline. If I tell you to draw these 4 Ganon Blights right now, to draw them, you couldn't draw any of them.
It seems like it's a lot of visual.
I could draw all 4 of them.
It's like a lot of a visual stuff for you.
But you
because...
can't draw. That doesn't count. I don't remember how all of these look. If I would draw all 4 of these now, I wouldn't remember how they fucking look. Like I couldn't. No, they look.
Yeah, I could
like
draw that. I could draw the boss from the Sand Temple just because it was such a frustrating long fight because I'm chasing Riju down to try to activate her power instead of parrying Thunderblight and then using Magnesis to put something near him so he electrocutes himself so he becomes vulnerable. There's nothing like that in that sand boss fight. It's not even a close comparison.
But so
visually, visually it's something new and unique to the other boss, but what you actually do is just not fun. And
so I can completely accept. I don't care. I can completely accept that you guys think, for example, the Divine Beasts were absolutely amazing. You prefer them. I don't care. But you can't say that I'm full of shit when I got exactly what I wanted in this game.
Well, you kind of just put yourself in the corner, though, because you said you did one Divine Beast and thought it was great. And then you did the other one.
I think it was great. And then you do the same thing 4 times. And I'm like, well, it kind
so do the other 3.
No, well, Retro also, again, Retro did something else. That's all I'll say. He did something else.
Yeah, like...
Do the other 3
temples.
He did
something else that you guys did not do. So that's all I'll say.
If you do the other 3 temples and you're like, oh my god, they're all great, then okay. But you've done one, the best one that I've done by far compared to the second one.
Well, I'm pretty sure that when I go to the volcano area, I'm not going to be in a flying ship in the air
Bro,
with a
the
legend
volcano area
is the lore, you know.
That shit is awesome, man. And
I will say though, getting to Death Mountain, there was some with Yunobo. That was my least favorite part. I just redid it not that long ago, about a month ago. And I'm like, it's not terrible, but at the same time, it's not as cool as being shield surfing behind Riju while you're shooting the feet of the one I can never, Naboris, I think. Like, that shit is epic as hell to me. Like, that,
And see, this is how a sequel that is technically better than the first one can somehow be looked, not given as much kudos as the first one, because all these little things like this that you can point out.
But either way, I just think
always gonna compare, and everybody has preferences and shit. That's just what you're gonna get in the end, you know.
I prefer a traditional Zelda dungeon. I would think most Zelda fans who've played Zelda from 1986 on would, consider or prefer a traditional Zelda dungeon. There's nothing wrong with that at this point. I wanted to just lock
I have no
that
issue
bitch
with
off.
you asking for it.
You can lock it off because you do it with the shrines. You lock them bitches off. So you can lock off a traditional Zelda dungeon and give me a traditional Zelda dungeon. You can do it.
See, I'm not in the camp of a traditional.
Is, they don't want to do it, or they don't have enough time to do it because making a traditional Zelda dungeon is intricate. You have to really build it out and make it, it's not is again. I have one sample size here, one dungeon, from Tears of the Kingdom. It's not you can go anywhere, jump off anywhere, and maneuver your way into things. You can't do that in a traditional Zelda dungeon. So you have to intricately plan out each room and all that kind of stuff. And this key opens that, or the boss key is here. You got to get the compass and the map and all that kind of stuff. So it's different. It's easier in a world that they built in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom to make something called a temple or a dungeon that's not what you remember Zelda dungeons being because
we've had that discussion before, like when you said, what do you want? And before this game released, like, what do you want from a traditional dungeon? And that's what I said. I'm like, you can make these dungeons and still keep the freedom of Tears of the Kingdom. They had no other way of doing that. Specifically with the added abilities, everything that you can do in this game, you can just make an ocarina, because that's, for example, like how they had the shrines, and you can't climb the walls in the shrine. They have to do something to make it make sense while you're playing.
The problem with sorry, Retro, to cut you off.
No, that was
I just want to say the problem. We have to give them credit, first of all, for what they have designed in both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom dungeon-wise, because when you're given such abilities in both the first game and the second, especially in the second game, you do have to make sure you design that dungeon so you do not break the puzzle that they want you to
Right.
tackle.
Exactly.
They allow you to tackle it in multiple ways, but the fact that you can go through ceilings, the fact that you can create anything, the fact you can fly, they have to still design that to block you in some way, to attack that puzzle at a certain angle, but still giving you options. So I give them credit for that. But then at the same time, if you want a traditional sized dungeon in a Breath of the Wild or a Tears of the Kingdom, they would have to be exceptionally bigger. I mean, vastly bigger than what we've used to as a traditional dungeon. Because if you're gonna set that up with all the moves that you have, let's just say it's like, even if we look at the Forest Temple in Ocarina of Time, it's not that big. It's a really small area. But then if you're creating something like this where your character can go through the ceiling anytime, as long as the ceiling is flat, climb any fucking wall, build a vehicle that can catapult you or set fire to. If you could do all this stuff to build a dungeon like that traditionally in this type of world, it would have to be like a Hyrule Castle, which is why Hyrule Castle was so big. Yeah, which is why Hyrule Castle was so big in Breath of the Wild. But that, if you wanted to argue in terms of a traditional dungeon, in terms of unique aesthetic and stuff, that was a big ass place to go around. You had a dining hall, you had the barracks down below, you had the throne rooms, you had all these different rooms you can go to and all this stuff, the library and all that stuff. It was huge. But you'd have to. I think that's what stopped them to say.
But that's why whenever I ask for compared to Breath of the Wild traditional dungeons, I never once mentioned I want a compass and a map and a key for a door. I never mentioned those things because it just doesn't work in the world that they built with the abilities that they give
what
you.
Makes it traditional?
But it can, though. It
for
completely
me,
can.
what I said, like I can say it again.
That's my thing.
But what makes it traditional? Not what makes you accept it.
For me, like I said, there were always three things, and I can repeat them again. A unique boss that is themed and designed in relation to the dungeon. We have just its own original song that sets a specific mood for the dungeon, and mainly a dungeon that is themed not just in the way when you have a wind temple, like I said, it's themed in not just, oh, there's wind here. It's themed in the fact that the wind temple is based in Rito lore. It has everything to do with the Rito, its legends to them that meant something more. Just like how the forest temple, for example, there's lore behind these temples and stuff. Ever since A Link to the Past, I'm not counting the first two games, ever since A Link to the Past, every dungeon has been themed. There's something behind it, there's a story behind it, and that's part of it. And to me, the Divine Beasts all had the exact same lore, the exact same story. It's part of this one thing. And it just made me feel like I was doing the same thing 4 times. And I just never had that. When I play Ocarina of Time, you have like the Shadow Temple, for example. It's a completely cursed area compared to, for example, going into the volcanoes.
Can you disregard the lore of the champions who were piloting each of these divine beasts that were specific
because that
to their regions?
Me is when you take everything between Breath of the Wild,
because Daruk was a hero. Daruk was a hero.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you, there needs to be a reason to go back to Breath of the Wild. To me, that is the only reason for me to go back to Breath of the Wild. The story between Link and the champions that he lost and going after them is still immensely powerful, and I still love that story behind it, and I love the idea behind it. Just if you're playing the Divine Beast 4 times in a row, to me that just became like, I did this after the second one. I'm like, I don't want to do this fucking shit 2 more times. Like, I legit was thinking that. Like, it's just, to me personally, it doesn't do anything for me.
I wonder if there's a poll, if you ask people, list the things that make a traditional Zelda dungeon. I wonder where lore before you go in would even. I don't even think another soul on Earth would have said
it can
that.
only fall to it can only fall.
And that's my
for
biggest...
many people to a specific item, because if you start mentioning maps and keys, you have maps and keys in Breath of the Wild in the dungeons. In the Divine Beasts and stuff, you have a map that you can read, find out where you need to go, and you find keys to open locked doors. It's the same thing
in the Wind Temple. There was a map too. You just don't find it in a chest.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like you're taking out a little thing, or do I have to find a fucking map in a chest just to see the thing?
Here's the thing: like we all know. Okay, well, there's those things. As long as those things are in the game, then that's fine. That's not really how it works. Because okay, you have a bunch of ingredients to make a, let's say, some kind of pasta salad. Just have all those things, and that's all you need, right? No, you have to. Somebody has to sit there and put those things meticulously together to make it what it is, to make
Exactly.
it work.
I
You can't
was
just throw the ingredients in a pot and say, "Oh,
Well, exactly.
I got
That's
all
why
those
I said
things."
I never expected a compass
So
and a map and a
here's
boss key. I
my
never
biggest problem
expected
with this
that.
whole situation is that, and Ayers is kind of airing it out, if you will, is that it's going to become a versus thing, right? Oh, well, I like this thing now, so all that other stuff sucked. We don't need that anymore, and that bothers me because I started playing fucking Zelda in 1986, and it had these things all the way up into 2012. So there's nothing wrong with me wanting that and expecting that from a Zelda game. Same way you expect stuff when you play a Metroid game. You expect to backtrack. You expect to do all these things. You lose all your powers. You get them all back, and you find all the little. You expect that. So there's nothing wrong with expecting that. And I'm saying you can still do that. Even in this world, you can still give me a traditional dungeon. Bitch, you put me on the island and you took all my shit away. And
Yeah.
you say, go. And that actually could tie into the game. It could be like, hey, in these temples, these are sacred temples. In these temples, you have to come as you are, basically. You want to get through this temple, you have to use the items that you find in this temple. That's how temples work now, right? Like, you can totally do that and make it tie into the story and give me a traditional Zelda dungeon. I don't, obviously, it's not the biggest thing. I don't need it, but when you kind of do it, it makes me want it. When you kind of give me a traditional Zelda dungeon,
Well,
it
I'll
makes
say
me yearn for that traditional Zelda dungeon even more. Either don't do it at all, or give me a traditional dungeon.
Are you saying you weren't happy with the divine beast nor this temple? Like, I don't
Hmm?
get it.
The divine beasts are actually, again, I have a small sample size, but from if this is how, if the Wind Temple is how the dungeons are in this game, I prefer Divine Beast because at least that shit ties in a little bit better. It makes sense. Obviously, the Divine Beast had a big, huge story
you're,
element to them.
you're
If you
talking
were
about
doing
just the thing
something,
you actually have to do
the
once
things
you're
you have
in
to
the
have to
boat.
do to
That's what I
activate
asked
them,
Retro. I
like,
didn't get an answer
yeah,
on
that to me
that.
that's better because it ties into the world better than
Oh,
trying to
but
shoehorn me a dungeon
I mean, if you're
into the
giving
game.
me, if you're asking like the reason why you're in the temple again,
None of
this to me
that.
feels
Just
more.
just answer this question, and we'll
Yeah,
move on.
no,
Activating the 5 locks. Just getting on the boat and having to activate those 5 locks. To me, that was the Wind Temple one. I felt like that was I felt like I was doing about the same thing I did in the Divine Beast. I mean, that's
I
just
For
mean,
simple.
me, again, same for me.
I don't
It was for
consider
different.
that. Like I said, I don't. That's a weird statement to me because I always said I don't need a boss, a key, and a map. So
I know you're just jumping. You
what
keep
I have to
skipping the
do in the
question.
temple doesn't matter as long as it's a themed temple.
So
Like
you don't
the
care that
opening the logs.
the five
No, because
locks is
we always
basically
said
just like
in a no,
the
because
activating the things.
we had because I said we had this discussion before. If you want to make these temples the way I want them work in a game where you're this free, I don't want them to strip all my fucking shit again. I have all the shit, it's mine. Let me use it. So if you want to have a temple that works, you got to find a different mechanic than you're closing the hallway, find a door. No, because you can just go through the ceiling. It's the end. You have to design the temple based on the stuff you can do in the game. So yeah, the way they did it in this game is the only way I feel you could make the temples work the way I wanted them.
And I
I
agree. I
don't
just
care
don't
that I
think
have to
there's some.
open a lock instead of finding a key. Like, I don't care. What's the difference?
That's what I was saying. The thing I'm actually doing in the Wind Temple and in the sand, the thing I'm actually doing, I have to go to figure out a way to do the wind on these things to undo the lock. It just felt so like it's no better, and I guess in some cases it could be worse than what I having to manipulate the divine beast to activate the terminals. To me, it's the same thing wrapped in a different aesthetic.
Yeah, that's no different. Like the fact what you have to do to me doesn't matter. Like I didn't. What you had to do in the Divine Beast to me didn't matter. It's about where I am and what I'm seeing and what it's about, and the fact that it's 4 times the exact same fucking thing. Like it looks the same. It's the same story. It's the same thing. Like that was always my problem. The same. I don't care what anybody says. It's the same fucking boss with just a different move. You know,
Yeah,
like it's no.
So a different move doesn't make a boss different. Different move set, completely different move set and abilities does not make a different boss.
No, that's to me like if you have fucking Tekken and you have the fucking wood guy who plays like another character. It's the same fucking character. It's a clone character. That's like Smash.
But
It's the same
that's
fucking
nothing even
character.
close. They
Peach
have
and Daisy are the same fucking character. It's a clone
completely
character.
different move set where you have to handle them a completely different way. Other than they're Blight Ganons, they're completely 4 unique
The
bosses.
same fucking
do have to
boss 4 times and just do a different annoying thing. Yeah, that's how I see it.
Anyway, Robert,
He played a different
the sand temple. I actually feel like I missed something because I hit ascend and I was like, I couldn't get back down and I was stuck. I had to ascend up 2 more times to get to an opening where I could drop back down, and then Riju just warped through I never opened the door that was locked, and she just kind of warped through it.
Oh, she warped through it. So I think
She come running up the hall, and I'm like, I never opened that door. I never figured out how. I still don't know how to open the door. I got to a point where I didn't want to ascend one more time, so it's going to take me out of this temple. I don't know. I just didn't try it. I should have, because then you can just hit B and go back down. But I was wondering if you
I've
tried.
done that before. I've ascended through a temple, and then it was just completely took me out of it. I was like, oh, I went a little too far. Let's go.
Okay. I was just curious because you're the only other person that did that one. But
yeah.
Overall,
I actually didn't do it at that one. It's funny because my stepdad was on that one, and kind of similar thing for you where you kind of got like you can say you got stuck at this one part where he's like, I don't know how she's not following me. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, she always follows you. I don't understand.
Yeah, I lost.
For you, I'm surprised she followed you. I actually don't know how she followed you, to be honest with you. But like, there's like, I love these temples. Right? They're so cool. They just feel like full blown adventure games, like in like 4 different adventure games in one. And I'm just like, it's so cool. And I get like a lot of people maybe want like the traditional like puzzle or something, but shit, I love I love these. They legit feel like, from starting that quest to the end of like the temple feels like all one big like adventure to me, where I'm like, oh, this is so badass. Like I'm like,
yeah,
did
the
I
whole
just do
journey
all
is
that?
great.
Like that was so cool. Like the journey. That's what I mean. Like taking into account the journey plus the temple itself, then the bosses, and then having them as companions. I'm like, all this combined as one. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This, I mean, like it like legit. It feels like genuine full games for me.
It's missing one thing
And-
though. That epic music as the Divine Beast took its perch. That's the one thing I feel like out of all that you can't argue against.
No,
It's
look,
cool.
I love.
I
the
love
Divine
when the
Beast
stage
too.
when you
Like,
go to that land.
Again,
And,
we're talking greatness for greatness, so it's like it's up, but I do prefer these for sure. Like it's definitely not like actually
I'll
a
wait
question
till I
for me.
play
Like,
the
I do
other
genuinely
two.
prefer these,
but
but
I saw something in the chat I wanted to.
but it's also interesting because like there's like a lot of times where I've seen people having some problems with some parts of the like other temples where I'm like, really. So I'm excited to see where you guys
I know.
if you guys have problems with some of these. I didn't actually have problems with them, but like a lot of people apparently have from what I've looked up. There's been a lot of people like, oh man, I have a problem. I'm like, really? I didn't have a problem with that.
I did with the water temple, but it's just 2 stupid things. One where I don't think it really makes it clear when you first get there, and another I just completely forgot about, which I mentioned the juice. Just speaking to your main character, like and stuff like that. It's just like, okay.
No, there
Okay.
was one part in that water temple that also got me a little stuck, and I was like, listen, what am I doing here? But just the whole journey to that water temple, I'm like, dude, this game is a game within itself. I love this. This is so immaculate.
I fucking love that.
Anybody do a
much fun.
Labyrinth
like
yet?
it felt like Mario Galaxy to me in a way where I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
I almost did a Labyrinth, but I didn't make the float.
I haven't done one yet. I've
So
been
I'm
close to it.
gonna-
I've
Almost
looked
made
at
it
it.
tonight.
I haven't done it.
And you know what?
Ran out
Also
of
about
juice.
the I think the wind temple, which we all did. You know how the scaling, just scaling this felt like an epic ass adventure. And like how Clark, I remember you brought up the like going into the tornado and seeing I'm like, oh my god, this is nuts.
It's not.
No game
it's
does
not that.
this.
It's when you get above it, I mean, you're looking into it, but it's when you actually climb finally above the storm and
Yeah,
then it goes
above it.
silent
Mm-hmm.
because you're
Yes.
actually
That part
above
was
the
cool.
storm itself.
Mhm.
And I
It's
love that about
nuts.
I love that about just going into the sky anyway. It could be pissing down with rain, thunder and lightning. You shoot out of a sky tower and you go above the clouds and you just got that perfect blue sky or whatever because you're above the clouds and stuff. I just like this fucking game, man.
So
Just kiss
I'm gonna
my
sound
ass,
like
kiss
retro
my
for a
ass.
second here. So I did the first Labyrinth, and that was an adventure in itself. There's a lot involved, and I'm like, this is greatness. I love this.
I've done one of the labyrinths. I don't
And
know if there's
I
a
mean,
third
all the way
or
to completion. Went down to the depths, and
Really?
I'm just like, that was an amazing experience. I did the second one, and this isn't just trying to be funny. You literally do the exact same thing in the second one. Probably, I'm guessing the third one too. It is literally the same thing. So there's a shrine up there, which you get so you can fast travel, and then you have to. I don't remember the order of things, but you at one point you're in the sky. Once you do something down below, which is all you have to do is find the center, and then you go back up. It asks you to go back up, and then you just float around and you activate the 4 terminals, and then you dive down through the center through rings, and then fight a boss in the depths. So there's no variance in the two. The first one, I'm like, oh my god, this is so amazing. I can't wait to do the next one, and it was literally the same thing. So that was.
I mean, that's also where the mazes in Breath of the Wild. They're all 4 of the same maze. It's just it's a different maze.
But I thought since there was one in the sky, I thought maybe it'd have me do something different in the second one, not just float to the 4 spots, which are clearly marked on the map, and activate them. Then you dive down. It's cool, but it lost a little bit of its luster. I'm not like itching to do the third one now because I know what it's gonna be.
That stuff has a mechanic.
You got
the
rockets,
sky.
you got batteries, you got fucking droids.
I haven't even assembled. I haven't even
I can't
put
get
together.
a hook shot. I can't get a hook shot.
The
Come
sky.
on, man.
I'm sure someone's built a
mazes.
hook shot by now.
A hook shot would be dope in this game, though. Imagine
It
you
would
could
be
be
dope in
grappling
this game.
around,
It would be pretty
grappling
cool.
around. That'd be
Imagine
very
you
cool.
could grapple to a skyline, swing down.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, literally, like
There's
If you're
potential.
letting people do
There's
all this
potential.
stuff, a hook shot really is
Like
pretty
Bionic
tame.
Commando or something.
The one thing I thought was kind of I don't want to say a bad decision, but I put like a flame thing on like my best shield, and I'm just trying to block, and it shoots out and within like 20 seconds it destroyed my shield. I'm like, what the like? I wish now I know. I'm not gonna do it again, but that was a hard lesson for me because back then I was having trouble finding good stuff. And I'm like, why does that wear out my shield so badly, so quickly? I'm guessing it's a balancing issue. If you just had a flame, if you could just keep a flame. See, for me, it should break when they attack you. It should break your little dragon mouth on your shield. I don't know why. With their testing, I'm sure they came up with a good reason. But it'd be cool just to have a shield with flame on it anytime I need to make a fire or something. But it wears your shield out like really quickly.
it does. Yeah, that's why I stopped using it too.
But the rockets still wear it out, but you won't like destroy your shield using one rocket. But other than that,
Zelda got popular doing all these things. That's what I just can't stand. It's like, oh, that was the past. Zelda got popular doing these things. You can't just dismiss them.
This man
You
is
can't just call it
so
nostalgia.
salty.
There's
God
I mean, you
damn.
still have the Link's
Just
Awakening remake, so they're not. I don't think
annoying.
they're like down under on it. Like I think
Yeah,
you're
I
gonna.
mean, I
you
no-
still
I don't
could-
think-
you still could get a new game with maybe more like that.
You know, none of us are here. I mean, we're always debating over, you know, what we class as a Zelda dungeon, all that type of stuff. I don't think, you know, I for one, would happily take, you know, the old formula of dungeons again with all new mechanics and all this type of stuff. I'm not either or anywhere. All I ever argue is that I love the mechanical design and puzzle element of the divine beasts, the approaches to them and stuff. I went to Varuta first and just working out where to put the trunk in order to make the turning wheel go in order to to go up to these places, all that stuff. I love that puzzle side of it. And then even coming now into Tears of the Kingdom, just having this open, just actually seeing the the dungeon there in the sky. You think I got to get up there. I don't know how I'm going to get up there yet, but I got to get up there. And that's where I know I need to go. And then you actually get up there, and the whole travel of the journey and stuff. I love the open nature of it, so I could take all of it. What I don't want, and I think a lot of people might be feeling it, after this game, it's almost like a Metroid Prime 2, although this game is just way beyond it. What you don't want is to return to this exact same design again. I don't think they will. I honestly don't think they will completely. I don't think they'll use the same engine. I think whatever they refresh it will take great grand elements from what these games done in terms of the scope of the world, and I think they will return to what they've always been wanted to do, where we're talking about seamless loading from the sky to Hyrule to the Abyss, and what they always wanted with Metro Prime 2, the next game could literally have that Golden Land back from Link to the Past, where you do teleport on that spot and then you appear in the Golden Land, and the world is completely distorted and changed, and all that is real time.
Don't talk about Dark World with retro though.
I know, but now set in that scale of Breath of the Wild.
Mentioned, I must have missed something.
Because it's talking about going to the Dark World, but and it having
I do feel like we will get a good balance of old and new Zelda. People will.
My thing is. Oh, go. Sorry, I thought you were done.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go on to you.
No, I just. My thing is because here's a series we can completely compare this to, called Assassin's Creed. So Assassin's Creed started off, the way it was. Obviously, it was a lot more stealthy, with smaller areas, blah 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 blah, and then it's just ballooned to what Assassin's Creed Valhalla is, which is ridiculously huge, vast and all this stuff. And you know what
full
happened?
RPG as well. They completely changed.
RPG. And fans got starting to get a little tired of that. They started getting tired of it. It was called basically the Ubisoft formula. And what happened? Assassin's Creed Mirage happened because a lot of fans really want that style of game back. And that's what I fear is going to happen with Breath of the Wild. Because, yes, it's fun to explore, but there are vast open areas of nothingness in this game, right? I'm already getting over the Koroks seed search. There are a lot of people who never liked the breaking of the weapons thing. And that's starting to get tedious. It's less tedious because you do the fuse thing, right? So that helps the weapon break be less tedious, and it's kind of inventive in a way. But at some point, that'll be tedious as well. And eventually, you're gonna have to hit that core again. Because that's what fans who've been with Zelda forever will want, and that's what it's gonna get tedious. It's gonna at some point these vast open worlds, unless you just I'm thinking of it in a way of what we have with Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, that Hyrule. They could massively restructure and make a new Hyrule that's way amazing. Again, fun to explore. They could totally do that. But I feel like this Formula 2, this isn't just this Formula 2 can get old. And
they can't just keep doing this every time. Like,
right.
They could pull like a Wind Waker and just completely take a detour and just.
Yeah, I don't think they will now. See,
I
think they've maximized.
Half the world and...
Like I said, I think people took way out of context of what he said. There's no way I feel.
I think they just meant they're going to keep them open
games.
But if you did Wind Waker, you'd have to do traditional dungeons. Because what would you do?
We've had the 2 games on the same console. They clearly wanted to do, and let's remember this was meant to be DLC, and they obviously completely fleshed it out because they had too many crazy ideas. Went beyond even what they done like with Mario Galaxy 2 and stuff. They had this engine. They loved it. They've grown on it now on the same platform. You can see that it's completely maximized everything that you think that they could possibly do with this system now in terms of an open world Zelda. So I feel like when they do move on now, which is why I said I feel like we will get some of the old, some of the new. Zelda won't be left behind from some of the traditional stuff that they've done. and some of the modern stuff won't be left behind because it's obviously worked. Many of it, but I don't see us getting another replica of this in the way that we're thinking. Where we will be getting Korok seeds again.
Yeah,
As
I
that
don't think so. No
collectible and
way.
stuff like that. I don't see it happening. But like I said, I feel like that it might be settled in because at the end of the day, we've already had these two Zeldas on the Switch compared to like an Assassin's Creed where we had 5 Assassin's Creed on the Xbox 360. Which is why that run fucking dry so quickly. And the same way we've already had 2. So I feel let's let this settle. They have done a staggering amount with this game to drastically change it. You're still gonna have those areas where you still feel like, okay, I'm just gonna gallop through here. No, I'm not interested in this now. You're gonna move on. But there is a lot to this game. I think what they've achieved. I don't want us to finish on like we're completely chewing out this game because I'm certainly not.
No. I want to.
I didn't say.
What they've achieved is something that we've never played before. In any game on the level of skill and mechanical complexity. And in some parts, we are overwhelmed by what we've been given.
It is
like some
overwhelming.
people are playing this, not doing any of the Zonai stuff, and just saying sword and shield, let's fucking go. Other people are building bloody Mecha Godzillas and stuff, right? It's it's a level of game that we're just so unfamiliar with that it is just blowing our minds. Just wherever it has. So it's a lot to take in, and that could be overwhelming in a negative way for some people. And I think that might be a little bit for you,
that could
T.
lead to
The size of the
critique,
world, all the
overwhelming.
collecting stuff. It could be overwhelming to
It
the
depends
point.
how
I'm
much
just like,
time you have too.
Yeah, I can't do this again. I can't do this
For
again.
me-
And I felt like that. I felt like that with Grand Theft Auto. Sorry, just to finish it quickly. I felt like that with Vice City and San Andreas because I put so much time into GTA 3. And that was a big world back then. I put so much time into that. To jump straight into Vice City, I'll have to do that all over again. And then with that game, that actually didn't change that much compared to
And
GTA 3.
I wonder how long a gap between 3 and Vice City was there. 'Cause I
Only
felt
like
the same thing.
2 years or something, wasn't
I
it?
felt the
2
same
years
thing.
or
Like,
something
I'm
like
not starting this. I'm not doing the same game over.
Yeah, but then that really didn't change that much. It literally was just a different setting. You're pretty much doing exactly the same stuff. But Tears of the Kingdom obviously just goes beyond anything that we've experienced before.
Yeah, and I just want to say, as somebody who loves exploration, even like a linear game like The Last of Us and Uncharted, I'm still like exploring like every nook and cranny, opening every drawer. So these 2 Zelda games are tailor made for me basically, and I've done a couple caves. One doesn't even list as a cave. They say it's the hero's path. People calling it. I must have missed that's what it was called. I got the knight armor gear out of that area. That to me, no lie, I mean it looked like you're in a cave, and then you get to an area,
That's cool. The cave is a cave.
but it visually most of it looked just like every other cave, but it was laid out more almost like a dungeon style. There's three areas, 3 directions you can go while they're kind of branching, and then there's a chest, and then you get
There's a bunch of caves that are huge.
you get the gear, the knight gear. That's in the previous game. I forget exactly what it's called, and then you end up in the bottom of Hyrule Castle, and then you get back up where you could go in the beginning. To me, that was as close to a traditional dungeon as you could get, but this more direct towards you, Retro. Most of that just looked like every other cave, but it felt so different in that there were so many branching paths. It wasn't the usual just find maybe there's a place to blow up rocks to get to you get your booble gem, whatever the hell they're called. I gotta look that up one of these days. I just skipped right past it. This one was so involved. I want to say over an hour in there, and that's just like completely optional. There's absolutely no reason. It actually started I went down to Lookout Landing down to turn in 4 things to get a heart, and then and that began this long journey. And but I can see if somebody's just not into exploration and feeling like they're going on an adventure, just wants to play a video game, like that girl I mentioned earlier that streamed, and she's got 10 hearts and was on her 3rd temple. She's going right from one to the other. you know, the game lets you play that way, but I feel like it's not designed as well for that type of play. But I don't know. I guess I never did it myself.
Because you said a cave looks like a cave, like, yeah, to me that's what a cave is. Like, that was one of the top three things that I wanted. I had a top five things that I wanted in the game. The only thing I didn't get is the underwater. I don't even miss it at this point in this game. But yeah, a cave is a cave. Like, I'm not expecting every cave to be like a dungeon, like a temple. Everything looks different. It's a cave. It's inside the rocks. I'm actually surprised with the variety of caves that they have. Like, some of them are like small, some of them are like huge. I found like 4 or 5 that were fucking massive. Sometimes you have a cave, you see like remains of a temple inside. I found a cave where the water goes up and down and rises. It's all different. But in the end of the day, all I wanted was a damn cave with bats and some crazy ass lighting and stuff. And that's what I got. Like, I'm absolutely amazed, even like overtaken by the stuff they did with the caves and the caverns in this game.
But yeah, I was just kind of using that as an example to say like how much time was spent just to get. I ended up with an armor set out of it. Like to me that was worth it because it wasn't just about that. The journey was just as better than the reward. But yeah, it's completely optional. Most people could play. I mean, I don't know what a percentage would be, but it's something you may never.
I've done that one already.
Never see. And just if somebody wants a more straightforward gaming experience, I can see it because open world games aren't for everybody. And if you do enough, like I feel like I've been doing quite a few lately, especially Elden Ring last year, Horizon last year, and Tears of the Kingdom this year. Plus I did Cyberpunk earlier this year. I'm not really getting burnt out on it personally, as long as there's fun things to do and they're well made and the combat and everything's engaging. The only time in Tears of the Kingdom I was like, I can't wait to get to the next area was in the desert. Something about the desert just didn't click for me, and it kind of was the same in Breath of the Wild. Was my least favorite area in that game too. So basically, the point is,
I haven't really.
I'm just saying that I could see if somebody wanted a 30-hour game with everything, and some people like that. But if you want that type of game, unfortunately, you're not going to get it with the next big Zelda game. I would assume maybe they'll do something in between, but it's just one of those things like Clock that you say, if you don't want to play a hard game, then don't play. You're not going to play Bloodborne. If you don't, instead of them making it easier, it's just not a game for you. And I think like if people are like, oh, this game's just too huge, it's too daunting, then it might not just be the type of game for somebody. And it just hopefully they will do some smaller Zelda games in between, so we're not waiting 6-7 years for every Zelda game moving forward. So
the thing is, though, like open world games, like admittedly, it's kind of the minority of people that don't like open world games because the open world games just sell like hockey, man. You put someone in an open world, it just sells. Like,
yeah, we didn't even get your guys' take. What's your take on the 10 million in 3 days?
Shit's nuts. It's crazy. It's just like it. I don't know if anyone would
10
really
million
expect
in 3
that
days.
Exact number.
Like,
I didn't think it would be that.
What does it matter how I feel? What I need? Who cares about my wants?
I did never in my wildest dreams.
10 million in 3 days.
I was almost worried that this game was going to underperform, being so long into the Switch's life.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, no,
The minute I saw
that was a
$70,
running trend, wasn't it?
Not worried about this game underperforming.
Well, it's still a running trend for Metroid Prime 4, isn't it?
Well, I literally saw when I went to pick it up at Best Buy, I had like in this quiet Best Buy, I had like while I picked it up within a probably 3 minute span, I had like 5 other people come up to either pick up Tears of the Kingdom or buy it, and it's like, damn, within 3 minutes in this random ass Best Buy, these 5 people came alongside me to pick up this game. I'm like, man, this game is gonna be selling pretty well. And then boom, 10 million.
Yeah, I was
days,
thinking
like,
the usual like
the lines of midnight release lines.
The high mark usually is like 2-3 million for like for the opening weekend of a Nintendo game outside of Pokemon and Animal Crossing. I know Zelda is Breath of the Wild sold a lot, but before the highest, I thought Twilight Princess was like 12 something million. It was 9.7, I think, with all the Wii the Wii and the GameCube version combined. I don't think it counted the Wii U version, which wasn't even maybe 1 million. So I was shocked. I don't know what it's at now. I don't know if that was just like all front loaded, or if it's done another
Yeah,
like
be
two
curious.
2 to 5 million. I don't know.
In a way, it makes sense because Breath of the Wild was not only a huge, massive game. Still, like a week before fucking Tears of the Kingdom like launch, people were still discovering new things. It keeps trending all the time. Like Breath of the Wild always keeps coming back. So over these 6 years, it just keep growing a fan base. So then, if then you release a new game, like all those people, they might be more
Yeah,
prone to like buy the game. It
e-
all works.
even when the final trailer for Tears of the Kingdom came out, we saw people going, "Well, I best play Breath of the Wild now."
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. My least favorite statement when people, well, it's like if I saw like a really cool trailer for a game, a sequel, then I'd be like, oh, maybe I'll check the first game out. But it's the line where they cross is when they're like, oh my god, this looks so incredible. I still
Yeah,
gotta
that's
start. I still gotta finish Breath of the Wild. I never got off the Great Plateau. Then what about this game looks so incredible to you?
Well,
That's
also
nonsense.
just I know you don't like to bring up the UK charts, but like recently, you have Tears of the Kingdom, but then all these years later, Breath of the Wild's still on the top
Oh, I
10.
didn't even see that Breath. I thought you were just saying it because
Oh yeah,
Tears.
Breath of the
Breath of the
Wild.
Wild was in the
Breath of the
top
Wild
10.
No,
top 10 of
Really? I didn't
it's like
catch
as
that
if
part of it.
yeah.
it's like as if Tears of the
Was it
Kingdom
7
came
or
out and
something?
people were going back to check out Breath of the Wild.
I
Also,
wonder if Breath of
it's
the Wild surged in sales if there was like a.
I'm sure there's definitely certain, but isn't that weird? It's
Yeah,
like there's
that
not a
would
lot
happen. That
of
usually
like
happens.
sequels that come out, and then the game before also
That's
just
because the
comes on
UK
something.
doesn't understand the taste of freedom anymore. That's why they like Breath of the Wild so much.
FIFA's usually like number one, like even more than Madden. Even Madden, its heyday maybe.
Well, yeah,
would
it
be
was Tears of the Kingdom, and then second one
FIFA.
was FIFA.
They just
With
love
the
the
Well,
best
that's
FIFA.
the
guy
thing.
over
Tears
there
of the
is
Kingdom
Madden
is
80.
they in for 3 weeks straight or whatever. Number one in the UK is
I
interesting.
just wanted to say still about Tears of the Kingdom. I've been like all positive and that kind of stuff. Like I said, I got almost everything I wanted. Top five things, I got almost everything I wanted in this game. But I do have one negative, and I feel it's kind of big. I think Juice mentioned it last time too. I feel that the Sky Islands are so
Yeah, we
fucking
didn't talk about that.
lacking. Like the whole game, I feel was basically. It almost feels like the mechs in Xenoblade Chronicles X. Like the whole premise of the promotional stuff was the sky
Yeah.
stuff, and you start in the sky, and you're like, okay, cool. This island is pretty huge. The beginning area is big. If I get more stuff like this, it's gonna be amazing. But then every region has like two or three tiny, like 2 by 2 square inch fucking islands you can stand on.
It's
And
kind of
I
like
find
Wind
that slightly
Waker's.
insulting.
Kind of like Wind Waker. You go out before you have the map. You go, oh, I see something in the distance, and it's just a little worthless couple islands that have nothing really of value to it, and that's like the entire Sky Island, other than the Great Sky
I have a
Island.
couple bigger locations, but I feel it should have. I was expecting because, like, yeah, you have the depths. Nobody was expecting the depths. You got a second whole fucking map. It's like cool. It's underground. I love it. It's absolutely amazing. I got caves and caves plus, but bitch, you promised me clouds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not looking at the clouds as much as I was expecting.
I
because
never
there's
see
not
the
much area
clouds.
to
I'm
walk
never
on.
up.
It does feel like it feels like remember those the VHSs especially 80 the covers for movies when the cover does not represent the movie at whatsoever. Yeah, there's people in it and whatnot, but you'll see like a big monster or a spaceship or something that's nowhere in the movie. It I feel like I've been super negative on the game when it's just not. This game is a complete A to me. It's just not an A plus.
I think you need to play it
But-
some more. I almost feel like
And I gotta play it more, right? But
Yeah.
that's my all these other things I'm talking about, which is nitpicks, right? Yes, I would love traditional dungeons, whatever. But that's to me, this is the biggest problem with the game for me, and it doesn't seem like it's going to change. Is that the Sky World, the Sky Islands seem like they were way more intricate, way more a part of the game. I don't even still don't know. Again, I'm still early on why they exist, what happened to make them a thing, and why they're important, and why there's Zonai tech on there. Like I was expecting that to tie into the game and the story pretty intricately, and thus far, from what I've seen and heard, it doesn't seem to be that. So that would be my biggest complaint. Everything else is kind of small.
I'd say the Great Sky Island, to me, was almost 1-for-1 with the Great Plateau. Like, gave you a snowy area and taught you the basics, got your main abilities. Sally said it's her favorite gaming experiences. To me, it was like it felt like a tutorial area more than the Great Plateau because the Great Plateau was so new at that time. This was I guess we're doing this again.
Right.
And honestly, we didn't talk about this at all. That's my least favorite, visually my least favorite part of the game. I thought the color
Damn,
palette.
no.
I thought the light orange, brownish grass and the
Oh, I
to me
like that.
it
It
just
looks amazing.
I
Yeah.
didn't care for that.
I'm
area.
like, you're over here. I'm like over here in my Studio Ghibli sky, just in
I
absolute
wanted
fucking
it to
heaven.
be that. It just didn't do it for me. The color
Oh, it
palette.
definitely. That's why. That's what it is. That's why I wanted more of it. That's why once you leave that area, you don't really feel like you're gonna
I
get back
think
to it.
I understand it. It's I don't know why they seem to focus on it so much in the trailers.
I
that
know
we,
why. Because
that-
because focusing on Hyrule again would be like
maybe
And
it
they
is.
That-
clearly
it's all
wanted to keep
marketing.
Yeah, I
the
think
tag
it's
on
only a
for
negative
some
in
reason
that
on
the
the
way
wraps.
they advertised it. It's
Right.
not a
When I
negative.
have been up
Right.
in the sky, when I have been up in the sky, and I have been up there a lot, I still feel that this distinction wise between the sky, between Hyrule and the underworld, everything feels so distinct. So when
Yeah.
I'm up there, now the kind of like scattered, calm, nature of that sky area is giving me everything I need in terms of feels and stuff like that. When I'm on Hyrule, I feel like, okay, I'm back at base. This is my land. When I'm underground, I'm like, this place is fucked up. I need to get out of here as quick as I can. But I'm living it down here, so I don't want to leave. It's so fucking good. So the Sky Islands, I can understand from a marketing point of view why they would focus on that, especially because these skydivers so much. And you do, at the end of the day, skydive a fucking lot in that game.
A lot. Yeah.
You're flying a lot. You are vertical a lot in the game. It's just getting up there is seemingly more difficult than we thought it might be. You think it'd be easier, but it's definitely harder to get up there. But when I'm up there, I climb over the edge, so I hang like that. I've been playing no HUD the entire game. I climb over the edge, turn the camera so Link disappears. I just sit there. I just watch the fucking sunset.
Yeah, that's the problem because it looks amazing, and you get that. I get that Ghibli feeling, and I love the visuals. That's why I'm so salty that because most of us we were like, man, new Hyrule, I'm gonna be in the sky for most of the game and shit. But you can't, even if you want to, because there's just not
You can't
enough
even
of it.
really
And it's
get to the next one from the air. You have to go down to the ground and because your wings don't last long enough to get you to the next one. So
And
I would
maybe it's a
not in the
product of
beginning.
like listening to lore channels ahead of time. Like I didn't watch a lot of it, but when they talked about Sky Islands and what they could be, it seemed pretty compelling and it seemed pretty viable. That it had something to do with the Golden Land, and the fact that it's just a bunch of floating islands.
Yeah, imagine if there was
it's not really compelling to me.
Instead
outside
of
how, it is pretty. Outside of how good it looks,
I have to wonder.
Compelling.
I have to wonder if it would have worked out better if it was a single mass of a continent up there with one or two dotted islands.
Yeah, that's
that
like
was
one
the
of your
main
zones
focus,
you
a
had to
single
go
mass
to.
of a content. Because at the end of the day, you couldn't expect them to cover the entire fucking sky
No, you
with
don't. It would be
No, but you're
massive
expecting
multiple
more
It would be
bigger
less
areas.
I think they could have had another.
you're expecting more bigger areas. Like the starting area is huge.
Yeah, they could have had another one that
might be the
size.
biggest. That might be the biggest island.
Oh, it is by miles. The others are dots
Yeah,
next
no,
to
it
it.
is.
Like, you didn't even need other sky islands that size.
No.
But like you could cut it in 4 and split it around or something because there's just maybe only 2 other ones that are kind of big. Everything else is just you go up on a rock. Oh, there's a temple. You go down on a rock. You go up on a rock. Oh, there's a puzzle. You go down on a rock. That's kind of what it is. Like it's just too little, and it's just too little
and
because of how cool it is.
A story. I mean, again, I'm not far enough in the game. Maybe there's a compelling story reason why they exist. But I knew right away why the Great Plateau was a Great Plateau. I knew pretty much right away why the castle did what it did. Right? Like those were compelling story elements. I thought.
Do you agree, Robert, with Falcon?
What is he saying? Which one?
There's an important story about this Great Sky Island.
Well, there's like a specific thing that you say there's nothing story wise. I just feel like there is, so I don't know if
I think the only reason, I
Again,
mean,
I'm saying it from a small sample.
Yeah,
to
no, I know.
me,
But
the only
that's what I'm
reason
not
is so
saying,
they
'cause
could
I
change
actually don't know
Hyrule.
if, like, I'm
I-
trying to like piece what I knew like back
I think
then.
I knew pretty much right away why the Great Plateau existed, right? Like why it was separated from the rest of the world. I knew right
Yeah.
away in Breath of the Wild. Same thing for the castle. I knew why the castle, what happened to the castle. So again, I have to compare it to what came before it, and that's why a game that again is technically better in almost every way cannot be looked on the way as compelling as the first game, because there's these things that you happened in the first game that aren't happening, and it seems a bit more disjointed to me. I don't know if that happened with you guys, but
I can agree with the disjointed
yeah.
Feel in terms of I get it primarily because when I've been watching my kids play and my wife play, my wife at the moment she's gone somewhere and she's like, I still haven't got my glider. I'm like, you still haven't got your glider? What the fuck?
wow.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, you could
You know,
totally
the
have
thing is,
missed that.
the game doesn't tell you that you can get your glider from a specific location.
No.
But what it does is when you first about to leave the starting area, it zooms down and it shows you what's it called, the town,
Mm-hmm.
just in
Lookout
front of the
Landing?
castle. Yeah, the landing town. Yeah, it shows you that camera wise. It gives you that clue to go down there, right?
Mhm.
But you don't immediately go there. You
don't
have to
have
land
to.
in a lake.
Yeah.
You land in a lake and then you have to actually go to it.
Mhm.
She didn't do that. She went the other way.
Right.
But
So
there's
she
a
hasn't
lot you
even
can't do
been-
without the
Which a lot of
glider.
people would do.
Yeah, exactly. She
almost
hasn't
did
even been to that town, and she's already like, I want my glider. I've been so stuck. I'm like, well, didn't you go to the landing town, speak to Pura?
I mean,
She's
it's the
like,
only. It
"What?
was the
Nope."
only
You wanna know?
quest.
The only reason I didn't do that is because I listened to IGN Talk of the
Man.
Kingdom. I know I listened to IGN Talk of the Kingdom. They didn't spoil anything, but they said make sure you get your glider.
Yeah,
That's it. They didn't
yeah.
tell me what to
And
do, what to do, how to
the
do it.
difference, the
So
difference
I
between
knew
this game
right away. Make sure I get my glider when I
Yeah.
get down on the ground.
and the difference between this game and Breath of the Wild in terms of a tutorial for such an item that you feel like you fundamentally need
Mhm.
is
Oh,
that
yeah.
Breath of the Wild, you cannot leave the Great Plateau until you got it.
Can't
That
leave
was
the
the
Great
end
Plateau
of
until
the
you have
Great
glider,
Plateau.
right.
Whereas in this game, you leave and
Well,
they say,
that's-
right, go wherever the fuck you want. We're trying to tell you to go over there. Doesn't mean that
I
you
wonder
have
what
to go over
happens
there.
if you
You
get.
can easily miss it.
What
I
happens
didn't
when you
get the
get to
glider.
another? Because that's your only quest at that point. It's the only thing on your map. Is
Yeah, it is the
is
only
it-
thing. in
I'm
What
there.
happens
missing
if
it.
you
Coming
go
from Breath
to
of the
like
Wild.
So
Goron's?
that's what I mean. No, she didn't even look at the map. But what I'm saying is the game doesn't stop you from.
Mhm.
Going
Because
somewhere else.
that's what
From
happened
doing
to
that.
that's
No,
what
it
happened to
doesn't.
me though. When I came down on this from on the bottom, I'm like, okay, now I can explore and I go here and oh, there's a chasm. What can I go here? Can I do that? You know, the only reason I at one point was like in a shrine, and the shrine had like this boost mechanic that threw Link away, and I kept dying. I didn't have the hearts, you couldn't survive it. I kept dying over and over in the shrine. I'm like, I literally cannot do the shrine. I'm like, I can't do this. Maybe if I have a glider, but I don't know if the gliders work in Breath of the Wild and stuff. I'm like, I just need the glider. So I was like, whatever. I'll just follow the story a little bit. Maybe I'll get the glider, and so that's what I did and stuff. But I played several hours without glider until I was
Yo,
absolutely
that's nuts.
needed it.
Me, I'm like, I'm going to get my glider first, and then I will do anything else.
I didn't know
Because
you would get
what
it.
happened
I
with
didn't
me is
think
that I
she.
jumped
I didn't
off
think
a-
it'd be there though.
I jumped off a
Yeah, I
slightly
wasn't sure
high-
where'd I get it, but I was like, I know they're gonna give it to me, so that
I jumped
some
off a
point.
slightly high rock face and I missed my glider. I was like, oh, I almost
Well,
died.
here's
just
something
then.
clever they did
need my
though.
glider.
If you happen to
Mhm.
start heading that direction, and you see a shrine like I did and went to the shrine.
Yeah.
The first obstacle is you hit a fan and you have to use a glider to get up to a high spot. And I'm like,
gotcha.
oh, I guess the glider. I need to get the glider, and I'm gonna go. I guess I'll go back to the story thing, and that's what
But
guided me.
that's what I just mean about the disjoint. I can understand if people feel it feels a bit more disjointed because they don't. You are literally dropped into Hyrule.
Yeah, imagine if you didn't play Breath of the Wild, you didn't even know
And
there
then-
was a glider.
Yeah, and then some of your core
Yeah.
items, that's
Yeah.
when you need to get them. But in order to get them, you do need to follow a quest but at the end of the day, you drop there and you can go in any fucking direction you want to. So
absolute freedom sometimes it's not. It can lead to problem. Like I said,
Yeah, I said the same thing about when I first played Morrowind. I said you should never give me a game like this because I didn't even leave the starting area for so many hours because all I was doing was killing people in their houses at night and stealing their clothes.
God
Right.
damn.
Yeah, and then I came out in the morning and the guards were like, "We know what you've done," and they fucking killed me. I was like, "Oh my fucking god, man! You should have let me do this in this game. Oh my god!"
I
or
mean,
they
you
could
can
have.
do it if you do it well.
They could have. They
Yeah, I know, but I didn't.
maybe they'll patch in something where you land in that because you have to land in the water from the Great Sky
Yeah.
Island. Maybe they have a guy stand there, a person. Hey, Link, glad you're back. Go see Pura, and she's got your glider or something. T, you're muted. Maybe
Or
add
even
just a
they
little
could
bit of
have
a
had someone on the
right as you
side
land. No
where
matter
they're
you
like,
can't skip
I
it.
just saw you
you
diving
landing
down.
like, man,
Give
that
me
was
the glide.
They
Where's
could've
your
just-
glider,
you
man?
yeah. drop.
And gives him
Yeah.
the
You
glider.
could use a
They could have
glider,
just
blah,
put
blah,
the
blah.
pool
Go-
right outside the landing place,
Yeah.
where you need to go, and someone goes, "Whoa, Link, where the hell did you come from?"
I
And then
died my
go.
first dive. I smashed my face on the floor. I
Wait,
missed the water.
wait. Like in the very beginning? Like the actual...
Yeah, I missed my very first dive down. I was like, oh
Really?
my god, what is that? So I kind of veered off. I want to go towards that, and then I was like, wait, there's no water there.
You know what I did on
So
my
funny.
first my first free dive, still on the Great Plateau, is I hit Y, and he did his lunge, and I couldn't figure out how not to do it till I hit the
Well,
ground.
the first time I came onto the Sky Tower, I decided to try and go back straight through it. And I thought I'd like dive straight down. I was like, I'm gonna get this. I went straight through the hole. I was like, yes, I'm a fucking G. Did I open my glide in enough time? No. I just slammed right on the
Very
fucking
fast.
ground.
So fast. Just...
Yeah.
Where did it start you when you came back?
What's that?
Where did it start you when you came back?
Oh, it starts you at the bottom
When
of
you
the.
jumped off?
I like
Yeah,
that
when you jump
anytime
out.
you like start facing like a Lionel or a tough boss, that auto saves there. I've noticed they're pretty good about
It
that.
auto saves a lot. I like it.
But there's been times,
I still haven't
maybe
seen
it's
the
from
Lionel,
playing
and I
Resident Evil
don't care.
4 so much before, where I'm like, I tried to, I was down like 3 weapons, and then I was like, I'm just gonna run away and load up my previous save spot if it's not too far back. I'm not gonna fight this enemy right now. I'm wasted too many resources, and it worked because it was like minutes before or right before that fight. And I'm like, yeah, I just wasted way too many things. I missed like 3 bomb flowers. I only had like 10. Nah, I'm gonna restart and just avoid this, So I don't remember doing that in Breath of the Wild at all. Maybe once, maybe
Actually,
twice.
I did that once because I was like so low on health for this one area. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, I'm gonna have to leave and just come back. And then I was like, wait a minute. My autosave probably has something where I just got to do this other part better, and I could keep some
Mhm.
hearts, and that's exactly what I did.
Now, we're talking about wanting old school Zelda back. We've got a lot of that back now with bomb plants and stuff.
Mhm.
And my wife is like, I miss my
Nobody wants it.
Yeah.
Well,
miss
if I
my
could
limited
easily
bombs,
throw
man.
'em.
Give it back, please.
If I could just
Give me
easily
back- yeah,
throw
give me
them
back my
or
bomb.
plant them, it's such a hassle just to like take a bomb out and if you wanted to set it down, if you throw it, you're too close to like blow up. You have to use an arrow because otherwise you're gonna blow yourself up trying to blow up
How many times
rocks.
did you blow yourself
And,
up?
and the thing is,
Not realizing
these-
the blast radius of those things.
yeah,
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
and they kill you straight off. But these are
Yeah,
normal
yeah.
bombs now. These aren't the Sheikah bombs that stun things.
Yeah,
No.
this
They
is-
actually blow up things and cook them and stuff. It's like,
I feel there's a reason to it, and that is the caves. They didn't want to give you infinite bombs. It forces you to like fuse with rocks and to create hammers to excavate
Yeah,
and that
that's
kind
what I
of
said. I
stuff.
said,
but
would
I wish I could throw
use
them
the
better.
bombs as a crutch. I would totally spam the bombs and
Mhm.
shit.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
different ways because you also can find these like Zonai like cannon things you can attach to like your
Yeah.
weapon. You can use that.
I
as
seen
well,
somebody
so
make
there's
a
different ways.
excavating machine that was with a
oh yeah,
propeller.
that drill thing. I saw that. It was hovering, wasn't it?
But that
crazy.
gives you plenty of rusty swords and rocks while you're excavating. If you,
I think it's extremely satisfying when you have. I think it's a claymore and you put a rock on it and you can do that spin attack to go through like a bunch of rocks in a cave and it's like, it's like
Yeah.
destroying all that.
the
So
boulders
satisfying.
definitely.
I
Yeah,
want
we've
to make.
done that
I want to
myself.
make my own fire penis mech.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
Nintendo,
yeah,
you
we
didn't know this was gonna happen. Of course, this is gonna happen, bro. Like,
we talked
And,
about a
and
lot
that's,
of
that's
little.
one thing
Wow.
where we were. That's one thing where we were all wrong, because we were thinking, oh man, you're only going to be able to put like 10, 15 things together. At least that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. But Rob, I feel like if you wanted to, you could make a Howl's moving castle. Honestly,
No, there's the limit is
somebody
20,
like-
I think. I
There is a
counted.
limit actually. Though,
When
yeah.
is there?
once you build something, it tells you you cannot build more, and if you try it, then it's gonna automatically take something off the last thing that you built.
I
Well,
haven't
the
seen that.
limitation really is you can only fuse something to one thing. It's hard to make structures. I was trying to make a
I hate that.
4
Yeah.
beams, and you can't. The last one can't connect because it only can fuse to one. You can't fuse two at a time.
There was
That to me
a
is the biggest
fairy
limitation.
quest where you had to move those people in the cart, and I didn't want to put them in a horse. I wanted to make a boat, and it didn't attach bow, so it kept like swinging in the water and shit because it didn't attach both.
I wish I
feet
could
to it.
tell it to attach to 2 points or something.
Dude,
But
I
Yeah.
love those sections where you're like carting people around and stuff. you
I've
know?
only done it
Yeah,
for the
it's so good.
musicians. I haven't did it for
Yeah,
anybody else.
Oh, I've done it for someone else and stuff, but I love that stuff. It just feels
That's
great.
what I do
It's-
for the
it's not-
Koroks also. Build them like a little cabin and stuff for the Koroks.
Yeah.
I'd love it even more if I could just quickly switch to my horse's saddle to pull stuff instead of.
That I agree. When you got the attachment, I thought, okay, he's gonna put something in the saddle, and every time I can put something on it, and he puts this fucking like block on it, and every time
It
you gotta go
slows the
back.
horse
Like,
You
right
could-
down, doesn't it?
Actually, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna equip it, put 2 wheels on it, and just always have it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
good idea. There we go.
But
Sorted.
I don't want to get into another discussion. But I saw Sally's comment. I tried the Japanese voice acting when I started the Wind Temple, and Tiba and stuff started talking. I'm like, I instantly turned it right back off. Went back to English because I know
oh,
these
you went to
characters.
English.
I know these characters.
Oh man, Sally, don't get retro started now.
And,
please. It's the end of the podcast.
If you
man.
played Breath of the Wild in Japanese, I would say yeah, play Tears of the Kingdom. But since I played
Yeah,
it in
I
English,
Breath of the Wild instantly.
I
in
can't.
Japanese.
It's just they're not the same people anymore.
They're not. That's just how voice acting works. To you, they will be different. That's why it started in English. The game started in English. Zelda started talking. I was like, "Fuck my life! I don't want to start this game in English." First thing I did, I was like, "Oof, I can put it in Japanese," And like the second you heard like Ganon talk in Japanese, I was like, "There's no way this is gonna be ever as imposing in English." Robert's like, "No, put it in English and stuff." I had this.
I think he's good.
I put it in English. I'm
Dude,
like,
I
"He
like
sounds
him in
a little
English.
bitch in
When he's
English.
like that,
No way."
like people just like.
I think he's
"What's
one of the
that
best.
sword that
He sounds like a
you
hissing
darkness?" Like
snake
the
in
way it's like.
No, and
It's
and
awesome.
the
He doesn't
guy
have
the
the
guy who does the
demonic
voice acting,
face.
he's a massive Zelda fan, so it's like a massive dream for him.
So I don't give a shit if he
I
played
think
every single game. He
I
doesn't
think all
change
the voice acting's great. I don't think there's any. I think Zelda's gotten better, and I love the
Yeah.
new characters. I honestly, I'm just disappointed that they cut some of the voice acting down to just text after still. I was like, this could still be a cutscene, but
Yeah,
the
no,
game's
agree.
already 18
I agree.
gigs.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more of
that
a.
happened to me with my last playthrough.
I don't know
I'm
if it's
like,
a-
Why isn't it just a cutscene?
I think it's more of a file size thing, and probably acting,
Probably.
paying the actors more to do more
There
type
was
of
a
thing.
stuck in the Rito area where like Dave, I think he was talking to his son, but it still felt because it was still in a quest related moment, and I'm like, wait, why did he stop talking and
Yeah.
stuff? It just went to a thing. That was kind of strange. It felt strange.
Maybe that's where they can really expand. Is just
Oh,
give
no,
Link at this point. Just bite the bullet. Give Link a voice, because him just going like this, like he should be talking. It just feels so weird to me to him
what
not
does
to
he
be
go like,
talking.
sorry?
It's just to me it brings me out of the game a couple times with him not talking.
I actually don't mind him not talking because I think you could have
Eh.
that.
Eh.
I think it works.
Are we talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Link?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Link.
The
You
only
hear-
time it bothered
hear
me,
his voice all the time when he
I
sounds-
want him.
Yeah, he does have a voice though,
though,
technically. Yeah.
But like
I want Link
the
to talk
only
now.
time it really bothered me when Link didn't talk was in Breath of the Wild when he was having that conversation with Mifa, and Mifa was like pouring her heart out,
Yeah.
and he's just sitting there like, "Huh,"
Well, there's
like,
moments
he
like
didn't
that.
even react to it. Like, give him
Yeah.
a fucking
The
line. and
thing
shit.
is, I know he's always had a voice, right? We know his voice has always been there and stuff, Especially, I mean, one of my favorite voices was in Wind Waker, because he was like, "Come here, come on." You actually heard him say stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But even in
Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, you got a sense of what his voice sounds like
Yeah.
just from his grunts and death stuff. But
yeah, exactly.
when you actually talking to people, the way when you question them and you have to do multiple choice, that's him. You can actually see him asking a question there. So
Mhm.
it's just like, have you been? Do I need to go over here? I need to be asked a question with a question mark. So you get that sense of him actually talking through text. And like I said,
Well,
so it
but when
is
him and
there.
Zelda in the
I
To
just-
me, it's a
beginning,
part
that-
of making him meager. Like he already, like I made the point. I think I posted it on Twitter. He already is like shorter than everybody, except for like the impish characters.
Mhm.
Literally, Impa. He's shorter than everybody. Girls, guys, whatever, animals or people. Humanoids, whatever. So, on top of that, he's kind of mute. He kind of grunts and like that. To me, that takes away from his kind of heroicness that he could have when he's just kind of he's not. It feels like he's not the hero. He's just kind of going through the motions or something. He's not being proactive.
I
He's just kinda
understand it, but
reacting.
I also disagree a bit because it's like when he's like when you first go to the Sky Tower, you first get Sky Tower, and the tentacles come out and grab him. And first of all, he's like,
Yeah.
like that, crapping himself.
Mhm.
Then
Yeah,
next
I
time you
love
go
that.
there, he's just like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, you don't need him
there's no idea.
talking
He's just-
constantly. I'm just
Well,
saying.
yeah, he,
No,
he's always got character. I think this Link has. He always got character, whether you're doing the photos and stuff like that or whatever, or he's
I'm
talking to
not saying he
people
doesn't have character.
and
I'm
he's
just saying,
standing there like Peter Pan, Robin
if-
Williams.
be the
and
hero of
stuff.
the world that everybody keeps talking about. Oh, it's you, Link. Oh, everybody knows you. You're a fucking rock star, and you.
I think it
I
was
just feel like he
In the beginning,
that bothers me a
with
little
him
bit.
and Zelda. That's where it really stood out to me. I'm like,
Oh man,
this feels really weird. Just
Was
make him
Zelda
a
taller
mute.
than him in the other. than Breath
Just
of
make
the
him a
Wild?
damn mute if you're not gonna have him talk, because that's just
I
felt
just
weird.
hate, and I know why they did it, but I hated how in Breath of the Wild you could find like Zelda's journal, and she was like, "Oh, he's shy, he doesn't talk a lot." Like, man, just fucking let this bitch talk. Like, why do you do this?
And the
They
thing
gave you a
is, out
story
of
reason for
all
why he
the
doesn't talk.
games, out of all the games to like actually give him a voice in, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom should have been the games.
That was
Because they are the first games where he's actually called Link by name.
Yeah.
Zelda calls him
Right.
by
I
name.
love how
You
asking
cannot
somebody
create
to
your own
talk
name.
turns into
You
constantly
can't,
talking.
you can't create your own name or anything. Yeah,
Who
he is
ever did
literally
that? By
the
the
first
way,
time
anybody
ever.
ever created their own
Link.
name? I never did it.
Oh
He
no
was
way!
I
always
always
He was
call
I
him,
always used to.
Link
Don't
and
talk to
Zelda.
Rob.
I didn't even
probably
know if I
called him.
knew his name was Link until
Rob's
like
quiet.
Wait, hold on, no, you guys all just went. It just stopped. What happened? It literally just stopped. The whole thing I was like, oh
Like,
shit!
we were
Did it just
saying
crash?
I've always called him. Tia's always called him. When you had the choice in the Zelda game, we've always named him Link. In a character select. I said I don't even talk to Rob. I don't even want to know what you called him in like.
Well, okay, so
Yeah.
I actually the only game that I didn't name him Link in was I believe Twilight Princess HD. I like to call him Link because I like to be the default. Like that's Link to me. Like that I can't customize him, so like that's him. But I did call. I believe I don't know about Wind Waker. I don't remember. But I might have called him Robert to be honest, just because I thought that was like it
I
was like
always
my
use
first
my
Zelda
name.
game, so I just named my profile. But for Twilight Princess, I called him I think asshole.
Of course. Bitch, dick.
I'm glad they got rid of that, and this would have been the time to give him voice acting. But it's just
Yeah,
funny,
'cause
like
it made
It's a
sense. And everyone calls
relationship.
him Link.
Relationship he has with like Zelda. Like for example, in Breath of the Wild, like you could have had cutscenes between him and Rivali, the way they did Mario and Donkey Kong in the Mario movie.
Yeah.
You could don't. They're so afraid to give this dude a voice, but like Clark said, he has a voice. He has a voice actor. He's doing shit.
but then
you know?
it wouldn't be
Made
that
him-
voice because that guy's Japanese. I don't know if he can speak English.
Yeah, that's the
yeah,
thing,
but then you
too.
get like an English voice
Yeah.
actor for you guys.
But you can have him talk during cutscenes and stuff, and you don't doesn't mean he's gonna be talking himself like Aloy. Like I don't understand that paranoia. Oh, you're gonna give him a voice now. He's gonna be giving you the answers to
Yeah, he
puzzles
doesn't have to do that.
throughout the whole game. No, you just only when he would be talking in the game you're playing right now would he be talking. Like he's still grunt and stuff. He's not gonna sit there
It
and say.
doesn't even need to. Yeah, it doesn't need for every fucking scene of that kind of shit.
Now
you
maybe
know?
they could use it to guide people like Clactet's wife. Man, I wish I had my paraglider right now. or something.
Right.
Just if you go 5
Oh,
hours,
please don't
with
make him do that.
if
Jeez.
you
No,
go 5
I
hours
don't- I
without
don't
getting
need
the
No, you don't
paraglider,
want to keep doing that shit.
I don't need them to do that like Days Gone shit, you know, and
God.
talk every fucking minute. But when
Yeah,
you have an
that'll make you hate me,
emotional
yeah.
cutscene with another character, like with Zelda in the beginning, like with Mipha in the previous game, give this man a fucking line to respond, you know?
yeah. Anyway, let's
sure.
wrap this up. I plan on talking about the state of or the Sony showcase, but
Oh,
we
God.
didn't. There wasn't
Dude,
much
this
to talk
is
about.
gonna be the game that we're gonna be talking about for like
You know, yeah,
Every
you know what?
podcast. I'm not even
Literally
gonna. I'm just
podcast.
gonna say more Tears of the Kingdom talk.
Tears of the Kingdom Part 3, Part
Yep.
4. Part...
I didn't
You
even
want to talk
name
about
this
something
one.
else? Put it at the beginning.
Yeah, I
Before
should
we
have.
go into Zelda talk.
We did that with Breath of the Wild. Even like 5 years later, we still all of a
Anytime
sudden
it
started
got
like Breath
brought
of the
up.
Wild.
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, just to finish off, you know, just for me, I'm just I mean, if we're all pumping in like 80 hours and anything, I'm just in love with the game.
Well,
Absolutely in love with it.
Terrell didn't think he had much. He has. It says 30 hours or more. So he actually put more time in than T at this point, and I thought.
Actually,
Alright.
I didn't know he put in that much
barely
time.
touched this
I was like,
week.
dang, he should have came on, but anyway.
Game is just absolutely
I've been playing
amazing.
it
There's
since-
so
I've
much
got
to
this.
do.
I've got this week off work now, so I'm trying to.
I
pump
haven't
in as
played
many
it
hours as I
since
can,
yesterday morning. I did a 4-hour session before I even got up. In
Well,
bed.
like as I haven't played it since yesterday.
I didn't play it yesterday evening. I didn't play it at all today. So I
I'll
watched.
play it tomorrow for sure.
I decided to watch Big
100%.
Trouble in Little China for the first time, like start to finish, just sit down and watch the
Classic.
movie without anybody else, because that was a movie we always watched with like group of people,
dude.
cousins, family. We always watched it, a bunch of movies. I never just sat down from start to finish and watched that movie, and I never owned it. And finally, I
Missed
got
a
the
lot.
Blu-ray, and it's. I don't know if somebody today would appreciate it, but man, it's a zany, crazy movie, and it's perfect.
Stone Cold classic, man.
Kim,
Malcolm Black, he's got 155 hours.
Is it
in
Kim
Y'all can't
Cantrell?
say shit to him. Can't say shit to him.
yeah, he's got more hours. But anyway,
150.
thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back next
175.
week. Talk more Tears of the Kingdom because there's nothing else to talk
We
about.
get showcase was
Even if there
amazing.
is something else to talk about, man, we're gonna be talking about this shit for so long.
And if you
Yeah,
haven't
we
noticed,
gotta
I
talk
always
about
do
Jack.
my Big Trouble reference when we leave. I'm just like, yeah, let's go, man, let's go.
I never knew.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that movie in probably 15 years, so I didn't even know that. But yeah, we'll be back probably next week.
Raiden.
See ya.
Peace.
Peace.